I've been having dreams all throughout the night. I think about 6 times in the night I woke up with different cryptos, and then I was given a sheet of paper to look at of cryptos that some of them didn't even exist from what I understand. I was like, whoa, and there was a point where I was like, I know this is a dream, but I can see clearly the numbers and clearly these cryptos that I was heavily invested in the future. This was like a white sheet of paper. It had so many different cryptos on it, and I was like, wow, this crypto, I have 100,000 of this coins, and I was trying to figure out the value of those, and I saw different numbers and different columns like A, B, C, D, and I saw the cryptos, and some coins I had a lot of, but it could have been, but after a while within the dream, I said, oh man, some of these cryptos could have been, some of them cryptos could have been a lot of coins because the coin was cheap itself. If the coin has 9 zeros, you're going to have a lot of that coin. So then I thought, oh man, so which ones was I really heavily invested in? And I don't really remember, but it was a lot. I think there was like maybe 23 different coins on that sheet. And I think the sheet was from the future. So I said, may the Lord reveal that to me again, please. I can write down and keep it. But I think that maybe it's at the very least symbolic that the Lord is showing us what type of cryptos He's going to reveal, or into the future He's going to give us those in advance, which we need to be in. I had a dream that I was in a big store that was like a big warehouse, but it was like a church of some type where people were staying and living and working, having ministry. They were building something very powerful, and they had started a fire on accident, and it wasn't a godly fire. It wasn't that type. While they were not paying attention, a fire was beginning to grow and spread. And so I called out, yell for the fire pump, because if we don't put out this fire, this is going to be destroyed. And luckily, the building had very large wooden beams, and the fire just keeps spreading, and we kept pumping the little sprayers. Somebody handed me a large water gun that shot very far and shot a lot of water, and we kept putting out the fires, and it prevented the ministry from burning down. It prevented the church from burning down. It prevented this institution from experiencing great loss. In fact, the people in there, it was like during the night shift, so to speak. That's why I felt like everyone was home. Everyone was asleep in their different parts, their places, and this thing that they were a part of was about to be destroyed. But I was able to help put out that fire before it even happened, so people didn't realize that things were about to be destroyed. I said, I had a suspicion I needed to stay a little longer, so I stayed a few more hours longer. The dream was very long in this part. And in the dream, I know it was several hours, and I looked and I found the little flames still smoldering after a while. There was about 2 people that were on the watch with me. I don't know who they were, but there were 2 people, and I told them, we need to keep our eyes on these things because these things can be dangerous, but we need to make sure that we squash these before they smolder. But I don't know this building is very flammable, very old, so I don't know which things are still smoldering, so we'll just watch. So over the next hour, we saw that there was a fire in the front room, there was a fire in the storage panel, there was like a food pantry behind a food pantry, and that food pantry was on fire. So we're squirting some water back there. I said, fine, I'll just stay with you guys all through the night here, and we'll make sure that everybody, that this is not going to burn down, everything's going to be fine. And I woke up and I thought to myself, I think this dream is also symbolic of the cryptosphere. I think it's also related because it was in and out of all the crypto dreams that I was having through the night. And I think that what the Lord is showing me is that there's a lot of people that believe there's a lot of things that are just going to burn down right now. And I need to be here through the night, so to speak, to bring peace and to help so that people can sleep and continue having peace. Because ultimately there's a peace that people, I believe, are experiencing from watching our program, from looking at the maps, from understanding the maps, so that they don't burn down their own place. Because this wasn't mine, wasn't my building, it was theirs, and it was like a community. And there's a lot of people that, for example, if we all jumped out of the market tomorrow, and there's a very large move that's happening, which I absolutely believe there is. The move to 314 on USDT.D, a very large move up on many cryptos, which we'll talk about, which we've been talking about. So there's a lot of people that will exit the market and then they'll ruin what they have built. okay, over a long period of time. And I want us to make sure that we're not panicking. And sometimes there's these little fires that we need to put out in a sense. Not so much that we can affect the crypto market. We can't affect the crypto market, but those fires that are causing us to destroy what we have, or allows our projects and things to go up in flames before they come into fruition or produce fruit. So I want you guys to experience a very great success, and I'm going to be here during wealth transfer events, and these are some of those days. Let's work a little bit backwards today. What is happening in the market right now is very important. There's some things that you guys need to hear, and I want you guys to watch these certain events because I see them clearly playing out. And I want you guys to watch it so that you're in strong position with some of these things. Okay? If we look here, before we go into our main route, I'm going to point out 3 things that we've been talking about. Okay? We're going to look at XOR one more time. We're going to look at SHIBA. We're going to look at Bitcoin. Last Saturday, first of all, a week ago, I told you guys XOR is in a strong health here after this blue line break. This is the crypto that I expect that's the one that moves up to 5,000%, something like close to 5,000% just to its recovery. When we call this right now, there's 3,000 left. When we called it back here at the rounding on the sword cut, it was over 5,000% to the recovery from that day. But that number is going down sharply. This is when we first talked about the health. I said this is the most perfect round action we see after almost perfect round action on 2 accounts. Both back here and here. Like, these are very strong parabolic curves. We talked about this being the point when health came into the market, and then we drew our sword cut around. I said, guys, we're sitting right here. Price is going to shoot up. It took a few days, a couple weeks actually. You can see all the ups and downs. People are wondering what's happening, and all of a sudden it goes up. And everybody's, it happened out of the blue. What happened out of the blue? Similar thing happened to SHIBA when SHIBA was in position. But there's issues that have to be overcome. Now with SHIBA, with XOR, the case is a lot better. We have a strong new foundational line. And we drew support coming in around these around these days. We immediately tried to come to this bottom, but a new sword cut was created based on the previous descent. So we drew this after the health. We talked about that last time. Duplicated up. We now know where the resistance was. Resistance was supposed to be here, but we broke past it, and that resistance becomes a new sword cut support. Okay, the point when price broke over that became a new sword cut. And price came down to rest upon this sword cut. A new line was drawn. That foundational line continues out. Price is playing within this area. And boom, we pop up again. Now, when we pop up again, we can take that same foundational line, duplicate it out, put it on top of here, and we now know where our next resistance and our next health is. We were at sword cut past the watch foundational line, this watch line. You can see here, it's in dotted white. New adjusted watch line. We were watching it very closely. Price breaks above this area. You can also draw a new sword cut if you wanted to, but price was still using the old one for wicks, and that's good enough. It's very close to the old one. And we bought here. Price shoots up to the top where it is beginning the next trade. Price breaks higher above it, comes and sits down on it. I said, when price was up here, I said, look for price to come back to these. The percentage of money from sword cut up to here was 82%. Okay, that's trade number 1 is complete. Trade number 2 happens when we pull back down. We pulled back down. I said, look at where we're closing on Saturday. I told you guys, look, we're probably going to be closing right here. Look at these prices. When we see all this downward pressure. Now, during the week, it was all the way down here. But all the pressure that we have is still up here. This is after the pushing volume came through. The big push on ultra high volume to get us past those areas. Now price can rest, and it's resting on top of this line. It is so easy to see. Now, why am I starting with XOR? Because today you're going to see many cryptos resting where they're supposed to be resting. It's been too much of a coincidence. We've been seeing so many cryptos. Hey, they're in a strong position. Hey, this one needs to come down a little bit more, then it's in position. Hey, this one needs to come down a little bit more, and then it's in position. Hey, this one's already in position. We've been seeing it over and over and over and over. Watching on last Saturday, we talked about Bitcoin coming down. I said, so when you see Bitcoin have a down week, I don't want you guys to panic. Okay? We looked at some of these cryptos. So here's another one. We're going to look at these three. I'm just talking about the sequence. So we know what's left on the board when we see structures like this. And this is just the example I'm using because we already talked about these last week. Watch the video about them and we go through them. That's why I'm going really fast right now. We talked about XOR now having potential moves of around, what is it? If we move up next week to a resistance, if it just happened in 1 week, this is 1,299 or 1,300%. I believe that, one moment, I believe we're not just going to stop here, but we're going to break and then rest on there. At the very least, that's going to be profit to be taken 1,000% on the board. That's not even our targets. Go ahead. I do have a question. Who is this?
Yes, this is
Ellie.
But regarding XOR, the price that I have currently is not 1 cent. It's
correct.
3026.
Yes, correct. The current price is 012 on Gate.io. That you're going to pay a higher price if you're using Gate.io. If you're using the other cryptos, you're going to pay. It's a lot cheaper on other exchanges. If you can get it on other exchanges. As we've discussed multiple times, if you've watched any of our XOR tutorials, I am using the Gate.io map regarding that, but it does have a different price. You are going to pay a higher price using Gate.io data.
Yeah, since I'm in North America, I cannot use Gate.io.
Yeah, you can use another exchange, but as we've discussed during our XOR tutorials, you want to use Gate.io as the map. Okay. But this is not a tutorial for a Gate.io. I'm just reminding everybody the structure is what you're looking at. And thank you, Ellie. The structures that we're looking at, you're going to see a lot of prices sitting on their structures. And we told you a week ago where you want to be looking for those. I said, pay attention since this is going to be a down week for Bitcoin on Saturday. It's on. You guys are all Dive members. You guys can watch it. You report tier members. Some of you, no, I don't think nobody's a report tier member here. But you can watch all of those videos. And I want you guys to pay attention to the low numbers, is what I said. The low supports as prices were coming down, because many of those would be hit. Let's take a look at SHIBA as another example for this. Okay. Sunday night at 8 p.m. is when these candles close. Especially if you stop like this or just a little bit lower, like almost exactly on those numbers. So many times this week, I pulled up my phone, and in my phone, I would see this image. I think I did it like 4 times this week. And price would look just like this. Let me show you. For SHIBA. Okay. We've had this number and this angle for months. I think almost, maybe even a year almost. This number is based on our Tiger calculation, this angle. When price pushed to this area, I was really paying attention. I can either take profit and exit, and then I can get back in if we get the break above. And this is our Tiger calculation. I've calculated, it's been in red. You guys can pull up any of our old SHIBA maps and you guys will see that line. It's a very old calculation we've had for, I think, almost a year. It's been many months. And we can see what happened that week. So let's look at that up, because I'm just giving you guys these to remind you what you're looking at. I really believe some of the biggest and strongest energy is coming in. Oh, before we continue, by the way, when we do have these down moves and prices are sitting on, this is a weekly chart. Each candle is 1 week, so this takes a little bit of time. If we want to know what may move right away or really soon, we need to zoom in. But now that we know we're looking at this area in the healthy range, okay, we know we know this zone is a health, we can zoom in and bring the larger world into the smaller world and look for the patterns. And when we start seeing the patterns on the smaller time frames, we can start reading what's really happening. We're looking at the volume drying up on the down moves. we're looking at the supply being drained to no demand. And when we can start seeing smaller patterns, such as maybe a resistance along this path, we now know that when price breaks above these areas, we should be moving up. It's basically that simple. But price can delay in these areas only for a certain time, as long as they're giving us those clues. And in this case, we can clearly see. Let's go down to maybe a 12-hour chart. It's going to look a little bit clearer, and then I'll move on with those other two. Here, on a 12-hour, it's not so clear. So we may want to draw. Let's move this. Yeah, on the 12-hour chart, I don't have any set pattern. Some of them, you're going to see a set pattern like a clear parabolic. On the daily, the higher time frames is going to supersede. I can start seeing maybe we're looking along here, so price may be bouncing in this little crevice for a few days. If we break and sit on top, that would be another bullish sign within the larger story. The smaller stories coming into alignment with the larger stories. The whole thing is where support is supposed to be happening, because on the smaller time frame, we have a smaller support watch line. 1, 2, 3. There's the core, the energy center. You draw it up. We're looking at price sitting in this area. That is exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. Because now price has a chance to go up. But it already dealt with all of its main issues. So where's the issues? Once the storm is over, don't be surprised when XOR shoots up over 1,000%, and it seems like overnight. Because it's not overnight. It took a long time building past its last descents over and clearing them until finally it's in just the right place to execute the final move. It's like chess. The master player on the chess board spends time and is not impatient to set up the board. But once the board is set up, the game is almost automatic. And it finishes so quick. Some grandmasters can look and play each other, and they'll just look at the board and they'll just shake hands, because they already know that there's no mathematical calculation after a certain point when things can change, when the board can change. You automatically lost or you automatically won. And they'll say, hey, you did really good. Or they'll say, you can go through the motions, but they already know once you're in a certain point, it's basically game over. It's set up. And this is basically what crypto's doing. With many cryptos you're going to see today, and I haven't even looked at some of these cryptos. We looked at a lot of them earlier, but many of them are sitting exactly where they're supposed to. So we're going to watch the positioning, and we're going to watch the small breaks quickly. SHIBA, because I beat this in the head. I called SHIBA when we were back down on the weekly chart here at the first break, that round structure here. I said, guys, and you guys saw all my videos. I think one of them is even public on YouTube, and the rest are for you guys. I said, here. Now, I also called the first health when SHIBA also came into health, but I said there's too many issues. We're going to overcome some stuff. Then we did a special calculation called our Tiger calculation, and we drew on the higher time frame a very special angle called our Tiger line. And this is actually a mixed Tiger line. And I said, watch this area here. And so for months, we're watching this area where, see how highlighted? And you can see play by play, price pushing up. You can see how deep we spike, but where are we stopping? See how far we spiked, but still look where we're stopping. This is not an accident. This is a centralization of the psychological level between the buyers and sellers in this range. And this is about where they should be finding support. It's approximately in these areas. Margin of error, the calculation is going to be off a little bit. But the structure should be exactly what we're looking at. And the structure is. This is also alignment with some of the prophetic stuff we heard from Triple J. She prophesied to lose a zero. I feel it's now in this season. I also heard penny. I also heard to go to dollar at some point, 10. So she doesn't know if it's going to get a penny in this season or go to 10, but sometime in the future. But to lose a zero in this season, no. And so I told everybody for weeks ago, I said, look for price to pull back. The first week, I did a report publicly where I showed you where we're looking at this area as the watch line. On the daily chart, we can see if we draw a straight line from these tops connecting, we got an angle about here. And that means that we can be playing until about April 29th. I had a dream that something happens big on April 24th. Something big. I don't know if it's negative, bullish, bearish, but I'm going to be paying attention to April 24th. That number kept highlighting throughout the night. In addition to that, we're looking on the volume to see when the volume will dry up. The first drying up of the volume happened on this side, which we talked about. The second's happening on this side, deeper into the line. Okay. Within the first set, we can see all the down bars, all the volume drying up until there's no demand in these down areas. So the volume's drying up. But they press it first deep into the line, and there's a lot of supply. I said this. What did I say to you guys on Saturday? I said, don't be surprised if we play longer in here because there's too much supply. I said the similar thing on Bitcoin. There's too much supply, so look for it to be another down week. There was a lot of supply that week, so they have to test that area again. And as they're back in those same prices now, look at the volume. It's still drying up. Less than it was up here. It's a lot less than it is up here. They need to draw that line, that supply out. This is going to make it easy for them to accumulate all the prices. All the people who are giving up hope on these prices, they're going to say thank you. And then once all the supply is drying up, like buying a house, if all the sellers are out of the market and there's no, or sorry, I shouldn't say sellers. If no one's selling within the market, the value of homes goes skyrocket. Okay, until they can find a proper amount of buyers and sellers for a balanced market in the housing. It's the same here, similar here. Now I drew this because I see core wick. I can see a line along that path, and it looks like health is coming in. What I want to see is I want to see down bars on higher volume on the daily chart, if possible, after the health. Okay, now this is basically substantial. I want to see that on the down bar. That means there's going to be some last minute people coming in the market, but after a break. Now this is a small move, so we may see some moves within this week up to about right here, but I'm still watching that top. I'm going to highlight this and include this as a picture, or you guys can take a screenshot. I'm still watching that watch line. Then the price for the watch line is this price right here, 0033. This is coming down. Depending on when that number hits, this is a slow angle. Back it was 2.8 a while back when I first did the calculation. As time goes on, the number goes down the track. Here it's 2.7 or 2.6 in May 26. But since we're in the month, right here, the number's around 2.73. Okay. So I'm watching those two areas. And we can see smaller health in the market. Therefore, we're expecting a smaller move up, possibly this week. And once we get past that area, then the sky is clear and price is able to go up. Only, here's the thing. I really don't believe we're just going to be hitting our T1 target. I just feel in my spirit we're going to blow past those areas. We blew past it last time. That was our target. There was so much support, so much structure that built up for so many years. The parabolic down move was since 2021 of October. Health came in October, November of 2023. We sat down on top of it, then it shoots up. It had to beat its resistance line, which was about right here, which was part of the Tiger calculation. The next major part of the calculation has to happen approximately here. Because the last calculation angle was correct and it's about right there, that's where the Tiger line was approximately, and we had resistance. Price went up, responded to that area, came back down, sat down on top of the, well actually it spiked into the actual angle, the overall one that was built over a long years, the parabolic, but it also spiked and sat down on its sword cut, which was approximately here. So when this happened, it's ready to go. I don't believe that they're doing what they're doing right now, accumulating it, drying up the supply, resting on this area for a simple move up of only, let's see what the percentage is, of only 81%. I don't believe they're doing it just for 81%. I personally believe it's going to be almost the same move that it moved the first time. Let's calculate that. First, let me take a picture. Basically, what we're saying is we're probably going to get at least 81%, but most likely we're going to get a move that's much bigger. And the move that we're looking to get is going to be approximately the same distance before the rest. It's going to be here to here. Let's actually take the actual number. It's so big I have to keep squashing the chart. I want to enter that territory. I did enter that territory. Some of it. I wish I didn't some of my position too.
I'm going down.
Okay, let's calculate by using a trend line up to this number. In fact, we're gonna be generous. We're gonna calculate up to the core. All right, now I'm gonna take this and bring it to the lower parts of the angle. And now we're actually looking closer to this price right there. Okay. Now what is that price? Let's 0.00009. And that still is not losing a zero. I would expect in this season prices to move at least 204% for that move. But this is important because Shiba's going to move up in stages. That line is important because it's part of the larger key angle. Okay, here's the key angle. This is where we would know the next trade. And if we're able to get up to there, which I believe we are, it's going to be above that area. Then the next rest that's happening, just like right now, how we're resting before the next move up, is going to happen here. Okay, up there in those prices. Because this will be the support. Sorry, mute you, Adis. So we would be looking, and it would look something like this. And then once we get to this number, Prophet Robin said the first camel hump, 0002, that's losing a zero right there. Once we hit 00314, then it's ready to break a penny, according to Prophet Robin. This will be another time where I'll buy. I'll buy some prices up here. I'm buying right now. Those are the two kind of things. Shiba is not ready. Can play around this triangle until March 17th. That was one back there. I think that was the older one. We can see due to the volume, there's no demand. The new number, is it March 17th? No, it's April 29th. The new angle is April 29th. We don't need to include that right now. It's just a watch line. Okay, let's move on finally to Bitcoin. Because these are the concepts you're going to see over and over again throughout the day, throughout the week, and as you go over your own charts. I want you guys to be able to see this in a strong way. Okay, so I'm just going to give you guys some pictures, and then we'll move on. This is the okay. Okay, Lamont Pet, I just mute you. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go to Bitcoin. This Saturday, I gave you guys this last Saturday, I told everybody Bitcoin needs to go down a little bit farther because it's building on its support. And it's gonna look like rounding. We identified weaknesses coming into the markets short term on many cryptos last week. I said, look for them to come down a little bit longer. They're going to need to. It looked like this. I said, there's too much supply on the downside. They're going to try to come back and bring it back down to these supports. Okay. Here's 60,000. Here's 64 area. At the time, we were at 68. They need to bring it back down. We also talked about it live on Saturday, on one Saturday, on the short term time frame. We said, look for a Bitcoin to be going down, weakness appearing. On the shorter term, was this a 6-hour chart? Every bar was 6 hours of time. Price should go down lower. It matches the higher time frame, but not the larger story. The larger story is that there's still health in Bitcoin. Later that week, we were going down. which was right, but we begin to identify where the next health comes in. A larger parabolic is being built on top here. Praise the Lord, this larger parabolic is here because we can now see almost the exact price, and it should be about $66,000 when this parabolic comes out and price breaks above here. That's when the next health comes in. And that's when the next big move should happen on lots of cryptos that are stragglers. Some will move up first, but this is where really it should start happening for many cryptos. This is about the crux of the wave. When Bitcoin reaches the $66,000 number and it's building on top of this parabolic, you guys are going to see some really big stuff happening in the market. Let's look at this a little bit closer. Price came down this past week to that number. Here's actually the low side was here, 59,000 to a high of 63. And we dipped right back almost in the middle of that, 60,009. Okay. So this is what happened, and this is good because we're supposed to come down here. We may even intercept the orange line, which is our foundational line, as we're getting closer. And that means we can now identify approximate time on when these things must happen, and I believe it's supposed to be sometime in April. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do is I can see that parabolic on the smaller time frame, and it levels out about right here, about 66,000. These 2 points intercept approximately here in time, which means we have April 9th. Okay, price has to break out by April 9th. Let's put that on the board. Where's my call out? Okay. Yeah, it's approximately April 9th. April 9th, we can see that price should make a decision 2024. Price needs to choose something on Bitcoin. Let me delete that. Good or bad, up or down, by April 9th. That's approximately when this should happen. Price can play in this area and then hit the support. If it breaks above, good and dandy. If it starts phasing through, it's eventually going to fall to another support lower than that. But that's approximately when we should see price move. And then finally, let's go back down to that 6-hour chart because I can clearly see it much more better. It looks like this. I'm going to make this really big. It's right now dotted yellow like level 1. I'm going to just show it to you real thick. Level 4. Alright, that's a good one. And let's make this a little bit bigger. For some reason my chart's moving a lot slower. The price that price needs to beat is 63,7432 approximately. Okay, it's going to look something like that. That's what I would expect. Until then, we are in delayed territory. Price can goop off, even come all the way down to some of these areas, and it still would not change the fact that the health is in these areas along that track. This is a 6-hour chart. Is March 23rd. All right. You now know where you should be looking for the big tides. You want to know when the market's really going to take off? That's when it's going to take off. All right. So at this point, you guys get my spiel. I really want to leave you with some basics so that you guys know these things. We're going to get into the cryptos. You're going to see over and over when short-term health falls into alignment with the longer-term health, which there's longer-term health on almost all these cryptos. There's longer-term health. There's a lot of cryptos that moved into position, but shorter-term health we started seeing on Saturday, some a little bit before then, but some of them moved into a shorter-term weakness, so they should be going down a little bit over the past week, which is what by and far what we saw since last Saturday's discussion. I said, so nobody panic, right? This isn't the crash. This isn't the crash. We didn't see it anywhere in the data. We only saw short-term weaknesses. So when you see Bitcoin go lower this week, nobody panic. And people are seeing ups and downs, but primarily price ended a little bit lower. Okay. The only major concern I have is on the monthly chart on Bitcoin. But apart from that, I don't see it on USDT.D. I still see that we're pushing to the bottom side, which means better points for Bitcoin, better points for the market, and a continuation of all of that. So let's go now to some cryptos, and we'll have some fun today. Okay, everything in this video is not financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose. And especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Also, this is never nutritional or medical advice of any kind. Let's look at AI.DOGE. Let's see what we can catch on here. All right, one of those launch coins. Had some good lunch. Strong round action. Here and here. Nice. We're going to take those angles, duplicate them up. We're going to bring them to the highest energy center, which is here. We got basically, we're going to duplicate this angle. When we duplicate it, we can see that our first point of verification is here. So therefore, what do you guys think is happening right here? Does anybody want to guess what's happening right there in this square area? Let's hear from you guys. Unmute your microphones if you can. I'll draw professionally while you guys tell me.
We moved into health.
We moved into health. Okay, that's one. In this square, we're moving to health. What it's sitting on this line. This is the key angle. If you want, you can label your lines if you want. When we duplicate it out, it becomes a ghost angle called the phantom. I like to put it on top. There's our verification. This is a little bit messy. What do you think we should do? We could say, should we disregard this line? Look, price is going up and down. It's not respecting the line. What should we do in that example if we're looking at price right here? What should we do? Anybody know?
Look on a smaller time frame.
Close. This is a daily chart.
Draw the.
Nope. You were
No.
you were on the right track. You said look on a smaller time frame. I said you're close.
Yeah, go weekly.
Go weekly, larger time frame. That's right. Because if we look on a weekly time frame, I guarantee you what we're going to see. I can guarantee you what we're going to see. We're going to see the same thing we saw in SHIBA. We're going to see a candle that looks like this. Spiking down, sitting right on it. I can guarantee you. I didn't even look at this crypto before. We do these live. Okay? Look. Drum roll, please. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The reason I'm doing this, why did I begin with SHIBA today? And XOR and Bitcoin. Or primarily SHIBA and XOR. Because I showed you this. Look, didn't I warn you this? I warned you this. Is that English? That's not right English, right? Sorry. My Ringlish is all getting messed up. Let's continuing again. What? I need to continue my what? I need to continue my Ringlish rations. Oh, I didn't even take a picture of that. Oh, I have to use the one on my phone. Don't worry. I'm gonna take you. I took the picture on my phone, so I'll just use that one. The one I showed you a little while ago. I'm gonna reference that image a lot today. Where's it at? Oh, here's one I need to also. The XRP one. It's the same story over and over. 1 second. Ah, no. Here it is.
Well, I think you said the pattern of Zora and Shiba would be repeated with the other cryptos.
So here are the images from that we're gonna keep referencing, because in the beginning I gave a concept speech, and it's important that you guys sometimes understand the concepts that are happening in the markets so that you are not whipsawed by all the little things. I want to give you trading a type of mentality that I have, that the Lord has put in my heart. for a number of years. And that's the larger story, the larger picture. When it comes into alignment with the smaller pictures, it prevents you from completely losing your positions. When I first started trading years ago, I think I was 18 years old. I'm going to be 40 this year, Melody says. I don't age anymore. But what happens is,
You're getting younger.
yeah, I'm getting younger actually. What happens is, there was a trade that I would trade, and I would do the best analysis that I thought I could with whatever indicators I was using back then when I was 18. And I did the best I could. I said, man, I think I did this trade really good. And price goes completely the opposite direction. Like really far. Not just lose the trade, but really far in the opposite direction. And I didn't understand why that happened. I set off on a journey to figure out why that happened. And every year, it kept leading me back to trend lines. Everything kept going back to trend lines. The Lord had to teach me that what price does at a trend line or doesn't do at a trend line is very important. Later on, I now know in hindsight, the reason, even though I thought I did the best analysis, is that there was an exact opposite analysis on a larger time frame that superseded. The smaller story is what I was looking at, and the larger story was what's really going on. The larger story was that price should go down for that day. But I was trading like a 1 hour time frame or a daily chart time frame, and I didn't see the larger story coming in. So if those stories, one says going down, one says going up, there's a hierarchy of which story is more powerful, and there's a timing on when those stories come into alignment, and when they go into alignment together, they're going to be strong. So look at these three images carefully again. Here is XRP. Larger time frame on the weekly chart, health came in the market. So I wasn't surprised when we come back down really far, but yet stop right here. I said, don't get caught up in thinking XRP is going to go down. Just because we see it go all the way down from 74 cents all the way down to 58 cents or 56 cents or even 54 cents. It didn't change the story. The next week, the same thing happened. Spike really high, stop right here. The next week, spike really high, stop right here. What's happening with XRP? I tell you what's happening with XRP. It's building in the story. We looked at this morning. We looked at Bitcoin. But this is the largest story in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's having support right here. On the smaller time frames, it's rounding out. It's supposed to. But look where Bitcoin's resting at. Come on now. Look at SHIBA. During the week, so many times this week, I kept looking at my phone. I kept seeing the pressure here. I said, it's doing the same thing I said on Saturday would do. It would find support exactly here. The price can spike down here, but look for it to come up here before the end of the week. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. That's when the candle closes. The little stuff is going to throw people off. Okay? The little stuff is going to throw people off. But the story is what's important. Okay, this is not even a crypto. I said, look at these things, because those things that are going to be in this first example are going to be throughout the market. Now, you're going to see that over and over. So if you guys didn't catch it before, you're catching it now. Look carefully. So tell me what's actually happening. I want to see pushing volume on this bar. I want to see ultra high volume on that bar. Didn't even look at the volume. I bet we're going to see it. Then on the down bars, I want to see a draining of supply on the smaller daily. Then we're going to zoom in. We're going to look to see if we have a watch line that we can calculate timing. We know the price should be approximately here, whatever price that is. And if the line is able to hold, that's a very good sign. So look at the volume. Do we have the pushing volume on that bar? Yes or no?
That's a yes.
We got one yeah. Hold on to me. Where's the? There we go. So there's that bar. This is the volume. That's a definite yeah, right? They pushed this, so that means they did this on purpose. So that means you guys are on the right track. Anyone who's bullish right now is most likely, according to this volume, going to be on the right side of history. This was on purpose. After they push it past the resistance, then what's able to happen? They can stop pushing. They can let it go now, right? You did what you had to do. My car broke down about, was it 2 weeks ago? Luckily, a man was there right next to me in his family, and he was like, your car broke down. Let me help you push you in the parking lot. And you know what? We were leaving the parking lot of this mall. We're at the very far end of the mall, still in the parking lot area. He gets out with his daughters, and they all start pushing. He says, "Get in the car." I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, I felt bad." And he helped me push. There was a certain point he stopped pushing because the car has enough momentum on its own. Once you push it past this on its own, you can stop, take your foot off the gas. The momentum can come down. The volume can now dry up. And in fact, it needs to dry up. We need to start having no demand. This down bar still has a lot of supply once it tested this area back here. So what are they going to do? They're going to try and bring it back again. Now this down bar right here has no demand. Okay, look how low the average volume is. So this bar right here relates to this volume here this week. No demand. Volume drying up. So what can you expect to happen for AI.DOGE? We're looking at this live. What do you guys think is going to happen for Doge after the volume dries up?
It's gonna move up.
It's going to move up. I can almost guarantee it's going to move up. Okay? Because that's what it's basically doing. As long as it can hold in this area. This is not an accident we saw. And if price doesn't hold, it has to find another support, but we can at least summarize it wasn't an accident that they pushed it here. They can rest on top, and we see it trying to rest. So if Sunday at 8 p.m. you stop exactly here, it's telling the markets, these guys, it's no longer healthy. It's now on the positive side of the health, which is strength. So this is a very good bullish sign. This is going to be common in the markets. You're going to see a lot of this stuff. Now, how high is this crypto going? I don't know. I don't know. We don't really have targets. We can do a transformation, mid-phantom transformation by taking the distance from here to here, which we talked about in our other tutorials this past week. Take that distance. We did a lot of tutorials this week, and then give it another mid-phantom. We might be expecting prices, therefore, somewhere, if it's this week, somewhere around that price. A lot of zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. 2, 1.
There's a question for you in the chat.
Okay, sorry, I didn't look at the chat. Let me look at the chat. All right. How to tell no demand or no interest. What you're going to be doing, we're going to have more tutorials for volume, but we've already began a few different tutorials. What I'm looking at is the first bar. Let's go to a daily chart. We're going to get a baseline for the average volume in this range. What is this? Normally these will match. And we can see, I'll show you real quick, that we want to make sure we first have an average volume by tapping on our volume and then clicking on volume MA or moving average, and then just give it a color. This volume down here, very low than from the average, would be no demand volume. That means the volume is dried up. I'm looking at the volume primarily in relationship to itself. Okay, so back when we were trading on these down bars, just say I can take that small segment, I can see that the average volume was still massive. Massive amounts of volume here. This was above average volume or ultra high volume. So if on the down moves, I see that, I know that there's too much supply, so they're going to keep going it and pushing it lower. Okay, then when we finally push it really lower on this bar here, it's primarily exactly on that bar. If I looked exactly on that first down bar, we can see how much supply really is in the market. And we can see that there was very little volume. You could say this is no demand, but on average it's still the same as what's been over the past candles. So it's technically not. Then now we know a new area to look for. Now we're looking in here. And as we come into these lows or spike a little bit lower or come up within the body of the candle, I want to see the volume drying up. Primarily, I'm looking for volume trending down. Okay? Because all of it can be simplified into a few different basic shapes. As we're going down, is the volume draining and going down. As I'm going down, in the support area where I'm supposed to, is the volume draining. So that's the basic... sorry, mute Pat. That's basically what I'm looking at, okay? So that's how I can tell there's no demand. In comparison to the average itself, also in comparison to the other candles in that range. So this bar right here would be no demand type bars. Now I still need a map, right? I still need a map. Can somebody tell me, now that all the clues are in here, how might we take this and see where the next health would be in? Does anybody know? It's going to be the same answer on all the cryptos today.
Draw the parabolic.
We can draw a parabolic. Yep, that's one. Basically what she's saying is we can draw some type of energy on the top. We're going to draw some lines. But basically, in this one, it's probably just a flat straight. Yes, watch line is the word I'm looking for, Nardu. That's good. Okay, so basically I'm trying to get these cores lined up. I can see that there's some verification here. The line may actually need to be a little bit higher because wick. So that's probably going to be the perfect watch line for us. Anything close to that's basically what you want. So you can draw that watch line, and therefore when price comes into this territory, you can assume price should continue moving upwards. Okay, all right. So that's basically what it is. And it should be happening in these seasons because you can only fit so many weekly charts in here. Now, it's very possible if we do go up and come back down for another reason, then we have to draw a new watch line. Sometimes it's at an angle. Sometimes the watch line is just flat. In that case, we still wait for price to break above and then we can continue moving up higher. And it would look something like that. Those are the different options that are available for us. But as it is, we can assume that watch line is correct. So just give it a price. And you know that if you hadn't bought this crypto, if you were going to be buying it, that you would look for it, the train to leave from the bus station approximately when we get to this side. And if you wait too long, you may miss the bus. So some people who are considering buying certain cryptos, you wait too long, this is one way to tell when it should move. Sometimes you can't tell, it could be today, right? We pump above and then set down. But primarily, once we break above, the bus is taking off. So you need to watch that. I usually set alerts when I do watch lines for cryptos that I'm interested in. I'll just click on the line itself, duplicate it above here, and then I set the little alarm clock button. Then I go to the message tab. I type this in. I type in whatever I'm looking at. AI.DOGE daily 1D breaking above watch line, and then I click create, and then now my computer will go quack. It makes a quacking sound for whatever reason, and that's when it is. All right, next one. Okay, that's all I got for you on this map right now. Oops, that's all I got. We got a lot of cryptos. Let's continue. And you won't have any other questions. You're going to see a lot of these three examples, like today. SHIBA, AI.DOGE, another one now, Bitcoin, XRP. They're all going to be sitting on those on top of their structures. A lot of it's coming in. So that means you guys are going to get ready for a very powerful April. I hope you guys make a lot of money in April. I hope you guys do really well and are really blessed, because I see it coming. R-Doge should be the same thing, probably. I don't see AR-Doge. I see it as the index, 6-3 average index. Is that what you guys are looking at? AR-Doge. 6 average rate Dogecoin index. Oh, okay. I know why you guys asked for that. This one I need to pull up a weekly chart. The candles look all funny and wonky. But it's an index, and we'll read what we got. We got a watch line here. Let's do our best. Here at the cores. Stretched out. So the health should be approximately when price is clearing these. We can see the cores haven't cleared. Health came here, right? That's right.
What is this crypto? AR?
It's an index, it looks like.
Oh, it's like it looks so choppy.
It is. But some people are using this to measure Doge. There's a key angle at the core. And this is what is price doing here? Does anybody know what price is doing here?
It's in health. It's retesting that line.
Yeah, sitting on top of its phantom here. So in health, sit on top of its phantom. This one's kind of nicer because it's got another support here. Let's give that this color here. Here's a vortex now. Price spiked into that vortex coming up. I want to see some high volume on that one, if possible. Oh, there's no volume on here.
I think they're saying it should be ARB Doge, Jay.
Is that what it is? Let's just include this.
Yeah. Lisa and Lydia.
Is that what you guys requested? ARB Doge? Okay, let's do that.
ARB.
I got AI Doge, is what we just did. I don't see ARB Doge.
It's in the chat.
Not Sam. Yeah, I don't have ARB Doge. Unless you're measuring ARB crypto into Doge. That's going to be a pair. You just want to look at ARB. Okay. All right, so yeah, we'll leave that there. I'm sure it's just the index. Okay. All right, let's look at the next cryptos. SHX, my friends. Stronghold. All right, Stronghold. Very strong moving crypto. Let's see what we can find because we're in completely new territories. Yeah, we created projections last time. Here, that only got us this far based on our initial move. We didn't have much data at that time. All we had was this down. So we took the distance up of our phantom, duplicated, put it on top, and that gave us a new phantom. That was our mid-phantom conversion. We can see that price was only 0.01. Price broke above, rest, on top, moving up, and we're moving up nicely. So I would love to see if there was more data on this one. But what we're going to do now, that we're in completely new territory, I'll take a picture of this old map. This one already did really well. But now we're going to clear our lines, make some new chart. Round structure accelerating at a nice rate. We got, I'll do both parabolic and the actual foundational line. Okay, there's going to be our foundational. Okay, I'm going to take the parabolic of these cores. I'm going to draw this out. I'm basically trying to continue the curve from this side to this side, and it's approximately over here. Okay, let's take this curve, duplicate it out on top of the core here. We may have, this is going to be our phantom. I'll pay attention first to the phantom, since price did give me some type of response to that phantom when price came up to these areas, and we duplicate that curve. Price give us resistance here, which is approximately where we should. So if price ever comes back down, I'll look for it to give us a response first on that line or here. Apart from that, we can now draw our acceleration lines. And there's one that is happening right now. Ooh, actually another foundational line. You can clearly see on the weekly chart. Bringing those together. So I'll use that one. Acceleration AL / new key angle. The labels are not as important. I'm just letting you guys know what it might be classified as within sword method. No real response here as a key angle. I just want to keep my eye on that support. And what else will I be paying attention to? This one's like in new territories, and we don't have much data to go by, so I will be blessed if we can find anything. That's all right. I won't speculate too much with this limited data, but I'm going to do this. You can tell when you have a watch line ready to go when the health should come in the market. If you have a watch line, draw those watch lines. When price breaks in those areas, you're now ready to go up. It's a similar thing that's happening right now. I can't tell you how high this crypto is going, but I can tell you, I can tell you want to use this as your watch line. And when price breaks above there, which it's almost doing right now, you're ready to go up again. What we're going to see, if I look at the volume in this area, is higher volume, and this area we're going to see a lower volume. I can almost guarantee you. You're going to see them testing the area for supply. So you're going to see heavy volume. And if they draw, or a lot stronger volume, and here once they come back to these prices, you're going to see the volume dry up in the second zone. Okay, that's going to be them draining the supply. That means it's ready to crack the roof. Hopefully, if you see heavy volume in this area, price is not ready, and then you're going to see them testing it lower for the week. Otherwise, you're almost ready. Let's look to see what we have. Okay. All right. What are we seeing here? Strong volume in these down areas here. As we came down, let's do this, into this zone, these bars here, above average volume or below average volume? What is it? That's really good. Anybody? Somebody tell me?
I think it's above average.
Above average? Yes, the answer is above average. What about now that, so they bring it back down, prices, it comes back up to challenge the resistance. And then they bring it back down to these areas a second time. Still, what about this volume here? Above average, below average, what is this? Below? Not exactly below. It's just average. It's a trick question. Average volume. Above. What about now? Okay, in this third section here. Too much supply means they're going to keep challenging that area until they drain the supply if they're accumulating. So now we're back in the same prices. To the average mind, price hasn't changed. To the average trader, price hasn't changed. But you guys see the truth because you're learning to read volume. You can see there's a reason for them to do it. So now we come back into these areas again on this bar or on this candle right here. Is this below average or above average? This one. This last down bar.
Below?
Below average. That's right. That's below average. See? Because remember, your average is watch this blue line. Okay? So we can see that this bar here is below average. Okay? So now we can also see heavy down bar with a little bit below average, but the next bar was a strong up bar. Back-to-back bars like that usually indicate buying. Especially if they're in an area where there was already low average. Now this is close to no demand, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to challenge it a little bit more. But you're going in the right direction. Is the volume trending down? On the downside, as price is going down, is the volume trending down? The answer is yes. Okay. We're primarily looking at the down moves getting lower, and that's what I want to see. I want to see these getting lower. Do you guys see that? I want to see that. As they're challenging this area, we need to see that. And that means they're ready to continue the markup. But this is a sign we're in the right direction. Okay? Somebody asked in the chat, what function does SHX serve? So you guys can talk about it. So get ready, because SH may close, and the price you need to beat is approximately here. Now, it's not super below average, so I don't think it's going to be today. But maybe over the next few days, look for them to break above. And that's going to be your new indication when you're going to move up. We could do a simple projection, taking the distance from here, and that would give you approximately maybe prices about here for the next move up. Taking the last projection, this is going to be a simple ABC projection, 20.027. GALA. GALA, we don't need to go too in depth. We talk about GALA for so much times over the past year or two, watching these moves. In very important moves happen GALA. What's happening on GALA? Somebody tell me what's happening on GALA. Does it look familiar to everybody?
Getting in position.
Getting in position, Ardu. What else? What else is it doing besides getting into position?
Broke out and it's hanging above the line.
Yep. It broke out. It's sitting on top of its line. Did it look like XRP breaking above, sitting on its line? That was similar, but it's a down angle. What about Bitcoin breaking above, sitting on its line? What about SHIBA breaking above, sitting on its line? GALA or AI.DOGE. GALA is doing the same thing. And does it have the pushing volume on that up bar here? That strong one right here, right above where my mouse is going? Is that pushing volume? Yep. You bet your baloney. That's right. You got the pushing volume exactly where you need to have it. It means that this move is done on purpose. That's the line, that's the number they needed to beat. And that's exactly what happened. You pushed above that area so that you're not getting swamped by all the sellers trading in this range. They pushed it above, and now all those sellers are now very incentivized to stay and not and stay in their holdings and not sell. So when they come back and test in these markets, the people who bought here who were going to sell, they're like, ooh, I'm really making money now. They can come back down, and then once the sellers reveal that they're not selling, they're holding, price can resume up. So what would that look like on volume is it would look like volume drying up, because it's saying there's no more sellers in the market. There's nobody willing to sell at those prices. So we got the push on that first bar. Second bar still have high volume, so don't be surprised if we come back down into these areas in the same low prices. And what happened? We're still in those same low prices. Is this no demand? Not exactly. So maybe it's not ready just yet. But don't be surprised if we see by the end of the week price still move. Now we can look at this on a daily chart, but it's all exactly where it's supposed to be. We all know the story. Price was in a downtrend for several years. 2021. Health came into the market here. We identified that health. I said, guys, look at price. Look at the descent. Let's see how price will get us to. But it wasn't long before we had short-term weaknesses enter the markets on GALA. We didn't get the chance to hit the top at that time, which was up here. Weakness, shorter-term weakness appeared in GALA. It was time to get out. We rounded here. It was actually time to go down. But the support was still in play. The larger supports were still in play. So those health that we beat was basically price building on top of that health, which was very healthy. We drew another watch line, foundational watch line. Here, this one here. We drew it. We knew that price could play all the way up until February of 2024. At that time, when the weakness appeared, it was January. We had to wait a whole month. Health appeared. It was still exactly on top of the parabolic. The actual number was, see that angle here? We could calculate the exact number. Health came in here. Everything was ready to go. And now we have a chance to challenge the top. That was where our profit is. And guess what happened? We made the money. Now, what happens next? After you make that money, price came into this area, broke above, came back down, but sat on the line. So now the next trade begins. Okay? Where are we going? We're going up to the next descent. Where is that at? We take a look at the last thing that happened before the health. This key angle. We duplicate that key angle, put it on top. That's where our resistance is supposed to be. Only one problem. We broke past that area again. You can take profit at that next zone. Wait for the next trade to set up. Price goes up, comes back down into this zone, but now it's not just in this zone. It's sitting on this zone. Now on the higher time frames, on the weekly. So if you're navigating this crypto, you've been doing very well. I know we've been navigating this Gala very well. Navigate. It's like you're like a ship captain on a boat. You're going through. You're navigating the North Pole. And now where are we going? To the target. Where we're probably going? Probably to the prophetic target up there at 44 cents. What's the move? What's the money available on the table for Gala at these prices? To the target, 140% to the current conservative side. I hope you make a lot of money in April. I hope you guys make a lot of money in April. And that you're really blessed. 140%.
JSong.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. What's that higher price point? I just want to make sure I can take a snapshot.
44 cents.
Thank you.
And that if we're able to do that, which with me, that's 610%. That's a prophetic number. It overlaps one of our targets. Target number 3. And the numbers are there.
Jay, is it time to buy GALA again now?
That's a great question. How could we decide if Gala's ready to buy? Anybody have any bright ideas? We got this chart. We can see it's going in the right direction. We can see it's sitting on the weekly. Does that mean it's ready to buy today?
Weekly close in on a day, your last line.
That's right. We can close in on a daily chart. So let's zoom in this territory. We're going to look at this territory more closely, only focusing on this area on a daily chart, and see if we can draw a watch line. What about this one? Can we draw a watch line? It's limited candles, but if there was, it'd be approximately about right here. And that's a good sign in the right direction. I think I might turn it on maybe to a 12-hour chart. Let's go down, zoom in a little bit more. We'll put on our little magnifying glass. Could we draw a watch line here? What do you think?
Yes, we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's an easy one, right? Even your dog could draw that. There we go. There's our watch line. As we connect core, quick, core, what is happening now? Anybody want to guess what's happening?
On the health side.
Yeah. It's already on the health side already. Is the bus taking off?
Yes.
Yeah, primarily. Yeah. We would say the price it needs to beat is here at 0.05. We already beat it. Now we're sitting on top of that line. Look at this. Did the volume... how did the volume respond? Let's see. I'm really curious. I usually like to see high volume on this side of the bar. It's really small to read on here. Don't really see too much, except for the push and shakeout. But yeah. But now is the time you can see prices take off, or it should. Now, let me go a little bit further, I guess, since I can. That was the price we needed to beat. You can see that we beat it. So now, if this is where price is taking off, and it's starting to take off, is there one last place to jump on the bandwagon for this crypto?
Now.
Now we're not so far away from the bus stop prices, right? The bus is starting to take off. There's still a few seats left. Here is 60.062 cents. Here is 0, the low was 0.53. That's a pretty big gap from some people. But compared to where we're going, it's very incidental. Do you understand that? So some people are like, oh, I don't want to buy. We're so off of it. But you got to think, even if you get anywhere close to these prices, where are you going? It's the same with SHIBA. It's a very large range, but where are you going proportionately? The money on the table, even from today's price, is still 143% before you hit target number 144%. So it's just to put things in perspective for you. I'm going to draw one other line for you guys just to be blessed, okay? If I'm trading and I'm GALA, I'm now going to draw the smaller time frame. I'm going to go and I'm going to take these cores here. I'm going to duplicate them up like this. It's going to look like this. I'm going to draw that angle, whatever angle that is. Duplicate that angle at the energy center on top. There's 1, 2, 3. Take that angle, duplicate it on top. I can find the next best price along the track. So I may miss this bus, but I also know where the next bus stop is just up the street. Let's do it real quick. 6 hour. Here's a 6 hour chart.
Hi, beauty. Hi, beauty.
Well,
It's my baby.
Aw, you don't have to talk that sweet to me, Michelle.
Huh?
You don't have to talk that sweet to me. It's okay.
Ow.
You're embarrassing me.
Beautiful. How's my girl?
Oh, I'm not a girl.
I'm talking to my kitty.
Oh, do you have a cat?
You caught me telling my cat I love you last week, so now I'm calling her beautiful.
Oh, okay. I do like cats, I will say. Although I do like dogs, I do like cats. The price of the next support should be about 0.06 if you're able to continue the push above here. Should there be pushing volume on that wire if it's on purpose? Are we making this stuff up? No, you guys can read it yourself, right? I'm going to teach you guys how to read so that you guys can read whatever you like. Do you guys see? Are you looking at what I'm seeing? Pushing volume exactly where it's supposed to happen. On this bar, we're trying to push above this area. We didn't have what it took last time, but it drained a lot of the battle. So now what we're looking for, can we push and stay above? This is a 6 hour chart. You got 3 hours left. Can we get above? We do see the push. Okay. If we can't close above, we may come back down. Let's draw some options for you. We need to get above here so we have a chance to go up. Otherwise, we're just going to come back down. All right. Any other questions regarding GALA? Shorter term, longer term. Those are the 3 options for GALA. All right. All right, let's move on. Algo. Here we go. We have a target at 65 cents. I actually believe we're going to 130, 118. It's a target we've had for quite a bit. Was this back in December? No new update. I would feel comfortable entering at these prices. I'm bullish algo. Prices above the yellow parabolic. We can see prices hitting around 916%. Wow. $1 118 area. The larger target. This larger target overlaps an old sword cut. This trade is on the weekly chart. So we were entering at sword cut when price broke above here. For algo still on its way, but an old sword cut up here based on this strong support, that's when we draw that sword cut. That's when price broke above those areas, and it also just so happens to overlap a target. So we have a sword cut overlapping a target. I drew a white box. When I draw those white boxes, that means I'm very confident that we're going to hit those areas. Okay. So far, algo is up quite a bit. Current price today, we're up 91% on our algo. If we're able to hit that, it'll be close on the low side, 819%, high side, 910%. Up to that much on the table. I hope you guys do well with algo. On the shorter term, we can break this down a little bit further and see what's going on. We can draw these. Let's see. Hold on. Let me delete these smaller moves. We can draw those structures here. and here together, since we're making new highs. That's going to be a smaller key angle. We're going to duplicate it up at the top energy center, bring it down at the core, and we should have resistance about here, which we did. Okay, that's currently where we're at. Let's give you some prices and we'll be on our merry way. Currently, this is the healthy area where price has a chance to be bullish, and it is being bullish. Okay, that's an older map. Where's those prices? The price for next week to beat is 37 cents with supports around 20 cents. Okay. Anyone have any other questions regarding algo? Algo's a little bit in no man's land territory. Shorter term weakness entered algo approximately here. You may see you may want to draw a sword cut. I don't have a new watch line for you. Smaller sword cut here.
So you think if BTC comes down to 57, you think these cryptos that we've looked at will drop down to their support lines?
Bitcoin already did, or it doesn't. There was the support is 60 to 57, somewhere around there.
Right, but if it comes back down to 57,
yeah, the cryptos still have many of them still are going to be at their support because that's the natural range for Bitcoin to find its support. And when Bitcoin has its footing, it's game on for the markets. You'll see some very powerful things. So shorter term weaknesses on algo already took place last week on Saturday. I said look for a lot of term. What I say again on Saturday? I said last Saturday. I said look for the lower supports on your charts because there's some smaller, shorter term weaknesses happening. But by and far, they are not affecting the larger story. They're not affecting the larger story on algo. They're not affecting the larger story at AI.DOGE. They're not affecting it on SHIBA, on Bitcoin even, on XRP, over and over. But shorter term weaknesses mean better prices for you for entry, which means this is not the time to be thinking crash. This is time to be thinking, I need to plant some seed in the ground. Where am I planting the seed? Okay, you know where some of those average low support prices are. When we saw that shorter term weakness enter Bitcoin last week, I said we're going to have a down week for Bitcoin. On a 6-hour chart, we identified it looked almost exactly like this, didn't it? Like this. We saw it when we were here in the live class. I said, hey, we're underneath it exactly at this moment. I said, look for us to go down. This was on, this is today, right? And we've been going down since. This is natural, but we also know where the health is. So we're not concerned with the shorter term weakness unless you're trying to just get some more prices. If you're intraday trading, there's the time to get out of some cryptos and maybe get back in some in a few more days. Or this is just your chance to start accumulating in all the support areas. It's the same with a lot of cryptos last week, but those times are ending and they're ending soon. Okay, how long do you think it's going to be before Bitcoin finally breaks above this area? I think this is a great time to take a small reminder for everybody. Okay, we're looking at algo. And I'm just going to take a small reminder health discussion about parabolic. I know I have some cryptos to come, but I want you guys to look at this real quick. On back in the day, okay, hold on. Let me show you this chart. On the higher time frames, there was a move here. Okay. There was a move that looked awfully familiar to on the 6-hour chart. We were in an uptrend. Maybe that would have been hard to see at the time. There was a parabolic that was on the top side. I told people, when I did this tutorial, and I used this as an example, I said it didn't matter that we came down. It doesn't really matter because that top parabolic is still in play. I don't know when, but when we're able to not just challenge that line, price came up to challenge that parabolic, but break above the parabolic like this, that's when it's on. That's when price has a chance to actually do some very powerful things, like skyrocket. And it would appear like it went out of nowhere, but it was not out of nowhere, right? What is going to happen to many of your cryptos when Bitcoin does things like this, or when your cryptos do things like this? Okay, do you guys understand how that principle works? This is powerful stuff that I'm giving you guys. I want you to remember this the rest of your life. When you see those parabolics come in, also, by the way, it's the same way on sickness as well. Okay? If you're seeing price do those sickness and enter shorter term territories, price builds on the underside of those parabolic supports. Look for prices to go down. But you're watching them. That's a weekly chart. That was a move of approximately 492%. That's a lot of percentage, right? People say, "Whoa, it went out of nowhere." No, it didn't. You guys knew where it was. You guys knew where to look for way back here. You guys knew where to look for way back here. Same way we knew to look at why we knew to look for SHIBA, where we needed to look for SHIBA entry, why we can see that that tigered line that we're looking for support on, price is sitting on that line. I can't stress it enough. It's a similar situations that's happening everywhere in the markets. Here's another line on a 6-hour chart for Bitcoin from today. Is this today? Yeah. Okay. Price can come down to 57. Ain't gonna change the story. When that move hits, you know it's time to get out of the water. Tsunami coming. I mean, I should say in this case, it's time to play. This is gonna be the big one. You're gonna make a lot of wealth. This is wealth transfer events. I'm letting you guys know in advance where it's coming. You can draw it on yourself. Recreate this map. If all you did was just put that on Bitcoin or drew the USDT.D charts that we see. If all you did is replicate those maps, you guys are going to be well ahead of the game. Your brokers don't know these things. All they know how to do is make your broker. Your crypto gurus don't know these things. But you know these things because you have eyes to read. You know how to read yourself. And you can read whatever it is you want. All right, let's look at ALGO on the smaller daily chart now. Shorter term weakness appears. Not out of the game. We're still in the uptrend. But we now know some of our options. There may be some resistance here at that price. If we break above there, we should be going above. When we break above here, that's when the real trade happens. Okay? Weakness would appear here. That's basically how we can navigate that trade. If we go up here, we can draw a new watch line when it happens. And we now know when the next health should come up. Sorry, Pat, I'm going to mute you, okay? You're a hot mic. I didn't say you're a hot mess, Pat. I said you're a hot mic. Now, I'm not going to draw that line yet because we don't know where that resistance will be. But it's probably going to be somewhere along the sword cut. So that means that ALGO, even though it's bullish, may not perform right away. It may mean that price has to come down a little bit. There's no watch line and no watch line in sight. So we're going to have to wait on ALGO, okay? So I will say this, if we wanted to put this as a little bit of a label. As of today, March 23rd, 2024, there is no smaller term watch line for ALGO. It is possible, therefore, that ALGO will move slower than other cryptos at this time or juncture. I would not count ALGO out. I expect it to continue to hit those higher prices, but there are probably better options at this time.
Fix the date, Jake.
Not 2004? Okay. So I'm going to put this as a commentary on the box. Thank you, Michelle. All right. And that's what I'll say about ALGO. Render, moving up along a very strong parabolic strong parabolic. In addition to that, it's on a foundational fire line, which is this angle here, based on those 3 energy centers in white. The whole thing is in health, based on this foundational line that has been broken. Sword cut is still hot at 46 cents, although not in play at the moment. We're not even close to those territories. We have a new support here in dotted white, a larger weekly waiting to break for the downside. There's no downside at the moment. We're just larger weekly support. Key ankle. Okay. Strength has entered this crypto. It is performing on the top side, the fire line. This is a sign of strength, not just health. This is what I put last time. When price gives a strong resistance on this side and we're performing on that side, that means that algo, that means that render has a chance to perform. And I put the whole thing is in bullish health in this area. So is it going to perform soon? Let's take, what can we do to see if it's going to perform soon or not? Remove my alert a little bit. Should we buy it today just because it's in health? What do you think? Should we buy it today just because it's in health?
No.
Mine.
What do we do? Why not? What if we miss the train? What if we miss the bus? Nobody?
First thought was to use Superfood's term to dollar cost map.
We could. Longer term.
But
It's just
I agree with Michelle because it hasn't. What's that yellow line? Is that the
parabolic. Yep.
Yeah.
It hasn't touched it.
So I'd rather wait for the parabolic, or if it goes lower, hey, that's a better price point for whoever might want to get in.
Yeah, that's a good. We may go down to this yellow parabolic, which is closer to 932. Okay, some of these prices down here, 930, 932, or we can just let it drift. But where's it drift? March 31st. March 31st, towards the end of the month. Ian did it better. He drew a watch line. The answer is simple. Draw a watch line if you got it. Now, I wouldn't draw it really on the weekly chart unless on this chart, because it's not really that clear. But it's something we want to draw to see if we can find one. It's very possible we need to look for a watch line, but it's possible there's a downtrend. Let's zoom in a little bit. The proper answer would have been, let's zoom in and try to see if we can see when timing would appear. In this case, we can see that the candles are messy on the 6 hour. Let's go to that 12. We should supposed to go from daily to 12. And in this one, it's still messy, right? Still very strongly messy. So it might be very difficult to catch timing on this one. Okay, a lot of messy candles. Let's go to the weekly chart and let's see what the volume is saying. We should have the strong push on this bar. I haven't looked at it yet, but we're supposed to. Look, boom. So we got the strong push, pushing volume past this area. So we know that the move past this orange line wasn't a mistake. It's on purpose, right? This is that's exactly what we want to see. On this bar here, we got the pushing volume. It pushed us past this zone. That was the zone we needed to beat. Push. And then we got the pushing volume on that same bar. Pushing volume. At least this is what I call it. Okay. Now, once we get that push, then we can rest. And at the moment, we want to be able to come down. It's very possible price is going to come down more, but I don't see heavy selling. I just see it coming down. Now because I don't have a watch line on daily or weekly. It very well may be that we're just going to end up coming down, and it's just a lot of chop. Or we can try to do our best to get the essence of the line, and that's one other option we can do. If I was to draw this, I would say the essence of this line is approximately here with hidden battle, and I'll draw it for you. I would say that if we're up here, by and far, we're probably going to go up. This is a messy one, but we're going to go up. But what about this guy? How do we deal with this that's sticking out here? See, the essence of the move is here. Can you guys see that? Does that make sense to you? The essence of the move is just that big chop. But we're going to have to deal with this sticking out right here. How do we deal with that? Does anybody know? Yep, that's absolutely right. We're going to draw flat where it goes underwater. That's our first flat. Approximately whatever price that is. Here is 12, just say it's about 12 cents. What is the other thing we need to do? And we're going to call this hidden battler. It's a hidden battler. It's an opponent we're going to have to deal with, but in a hidden way. He's hiding. And the other one is where?
Is that $12 you mean?
12 cents. Oh yeah, that's $12. You're right. Yee. Let's do this in white. Okay. What else? I drew the first hidden battler. That's going to be hidden battler 1, HB1.
At the top? Draw it at the top?
Yes. At the wick?
No, at the core.
At the core. That's right. At the core. Good. And that's HB2. And if you guys took our HB module, sword lessons 1 through 10, that's going to be our HB class. Hidden battler 1, hidden battler 2. I can almost guarantee this is going to be how it's going to happen. Okay. That means that this is probably more trouble than it's worth. But if we were trading it, it might look like this then. We would see a move up to approximately here or here, those two, and we'll see price playing around in those areas. But they would be big tells. If we break above here, we're ready to go. If we break above here, we're probably just going to go up to here. Otherwise, we could be still falling and rejecting in those areas. Okay, so this is a little bit of a problem, but if you're micro trading this, intraday trading this, you would probably do it using this as your map. That's a little more advanced, but I'm giving it to people who want that for navigation, which means that it's probably going to be set in stone that once we break above 13.34, sorry, no, 13.14, you're probably going up to continue the run. And that's if you don't get the pullback all the way down to some of these lower prices, like here, $9.34, the lower part of the parabolic, $9.43. All right, let's move on. BEPRO. Ooh, I like BEPRO. Yeah, man, this one was a good one. I talked about this one a lot, didn't I? I said, BEPRO, wow, good. That's what I said. Let's see how well it's been doing. Let's see if it is still wow. The wow factor. Wow. Ooh, hit my target. Hit my target. Hit my target pretty well, didn't it? I hope somebody made some money on that. I hope somebody made some good money on it. We said in these areas, look for prices to get up to here. The only problem is we broke down after our last support. Weakness entered, came back down to the major support. Now, where's that support? It should be on the weekly chart. A support that's been built on the weekly for a long time. Since 2021. Targets ultimately 009. That's our resistance right here along this path. Oh, that was yeah. Why isn't this not drawn perfectly? Yeah, it's our phantom. Now, let's do this. There's something else we need to draw. Ooh, we don't need to draw it. We already drew it. Good. Tiger. Okay, so let's talk about it. Price came all the way back down here and then just slams up here to that target. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now this week, we're not above that phantom. So let's go and recalculate our lines. And let's build our map a little bit. Based on the data, I can still see it. Some of the best entry prices running on top of the support line. We're still at the strongest resistances in orange. Okay, along that blue line. I said we're still along that blue line in orange. Prophetic. This is a millionaire's coin. It grows and grows. Longer term, steady growth, says Triple J. This coin was once at $99. Current price is 0013. Wow. Asking for $1 is not too much to ask for this coin, is what I said back then. Okay. So we were there, and I hope that made somebody money. It did flirt with that support line for quite a bit, didn't it? Ain't that hard? Isn't that the thing that gets retail traders out of the cryptos? It sure does. It sure does all the time. Okay, because the bankers can hold on to a stronger position without it hurting them. If you're leverage trading, and many times you're gonna get stopped out. You're not gonna be able to play the game. Now I did something, and let's see. Let's go. Why did I have this phantom exactly here? That's why. That was the key angle. Okay. Let's go left. Wow, I feel really good today. Thank you, Al, for praying for me. Thank you, Lord. I have Tiger analysis on here. And the Tiger analysis is a mixture, you guys know this from our Tiger modules, is a mixture of two angles. It's the center line based on large energy in a cone shape. When I have that center line, I'm able to take that Tiger line, that angle, once I know the angle, and I'm able to bring it up to all the energy centers, the major ones, in play. And it's going to tell me approximately where and what I'm looking at. They're like the stop and go signs. If I see price building above them, that's important. If I see price building below them, that's important. If I take that Tiger angle, which I already did, there's only one I really missed, and I take it and I move it on top of the cores in these areas, it's going to give me an angle that's here. And I gave it to you guys already. And I'm going to bring it up now in a big way. Is that it? Line thickness. Okay. And here it is. Here's the angle. So what I'm expecting primarily is there's two things. This is a clue of what's happening. Price came up, hit the resistance, right? Yes, it did. Our target just goes along the track depending on time. It hit our target pretty well. But now we're actually looking at support on top of the Tiger because we got the push above it. I wouldn't be surprised if on the Tiger line itself, on March 4th, we have pushing volume. Let's take a look. It should be ultra high volume, so I know that this is a strong indication. It may be. I don't know. Let's look. And boy and behold. What is it? Lo and behold. Did we get the push on ultra high volume? See or no deal? Is that pushing volume?
That's a deal.
Yep, you bet your grandma. You bet your grandma on bingo night. Pushing volume. Did I not tell you? Did I tell you? Look at that. So when we see this type of things happening, we read it in conjunction with the story. It needed to push past that angle. It pushes. Don't be surprised if we can rest on low volume at the supports. Look at this past week. We got 1 day, 9 hours left to go in the week. But look at the volume. Anyone want to speculate what's happening here as we come back down to these areas? What type of volume is that? If the week closed, we only got one more day left. Sunday night at 8 p.m. I got a date. Sunday night at 8. What do you think that is? What type of volume is it? Nobody? There's two answers I'll accept.
It's low volume.
That's right. It's
Very
low
low.
volume. There's another word for it. If it's pushing to the downside, it's generally no demand. Is it? Nobody's interested in selling once we came back down to these prices. They're holding on. There's a problem. Look at the candle. What type of candle is that?
Up candle, right? White one?
Yeah, it started here, closes here. It is an up bar, but there's a problem with it. What's the problem with this exact candle?
Shakeout candle.
Shakeout candle, that's right. Who got that? Who was that? Ian? Nardu. This is a shakeout bar. Shakeout. We know it's a shakeout bar because the wicks are ultra high on one side and ultra low on the other side. That is the shakeout bar. That's a classic shakeout move. The shakeout, what happens with the shakeout? We look for it in context. If prices is going up before a shakeout, what does that usually mean? Does anybody remember? If prices are going up before a shakeout, what does that usually mean? It goes up and then the shakeout happens. Yeah, it's bullish because usually after the shakeout, the prices will resume. That's a classic sign. It happens all the time in the stock market. You'll see them drive up, then they'll shake out everybody from their stops. They'll trigger stops, trigger sells, get them to sell, get them to panic. If they say thank you, they accumulate all of those pieces and they go up. That's what happens to professional money. Usually on a shakeout bar, which is this shape, which is happening. The only problem with this bar, even though it's a shakeout, it's on very low demand, which means they're probably going to give us a proper down bar, which means we may go down one more time. Also no demand, unless they accumulate a lot at the last moment, and you'll see ultra high volume followed by ultra high volume on an up bar. But generally we're looking at no demand, low demand. And clues, this is evidence that we're going to be going higher. Okay, all of this is evidence you're going higher. No demand after the push, on top of the support. So where's the real support on this chart? The real support, again, I already gave it to you. Tiger. Everyone's looking here. You need to look here. Yes, there's resistance here. It's right, there's resistance here, right? We know that because we have the key. So we know there should be resistance there. But everyone's looking there for the next move. But the support is already building. And I'm letting you guys know. You need to be looking here along this track at whatever those prices are to see what's really happening. Because what's probably going to happen is if you get a good enough setup, price ain't going to come back down to here like that. No, it's probably just going to go straight up to the next targets. And then we'll build up again on the next tiger support, which is here. And the same thing will happen. It just moves down and the numbers change. All of this moves down. Okay? I'm letting you guys know in advance because you can see it happening with your own eyes. Right? We've known these numbers for a long time, by the way. But you guys now have them. And if you don't know how to replicate the line, just at least replicate somewhere close to these numbers. Okay? Let's look at this closely on a daily chart. I'll give you that picture, by the way, so you guys can draw your own watch line. Your own tiger line. Get as close as you can to mine and then place it. Now there's one place I didn't place it and I need to place it right here at these scores. I'll redo that picture. BEPRO. Looks like you can get this one on KuCoin. Okay, let's throw some prices on here. This is how we can navigate all the way to here. Price doesn't just go straight up in the air. Everybody wants that, I wish. Sometimes it does, but it's very rare. More often, you're going to see price move up in stages, and it's enough for that because then you can navigate. Some crypto will move up and then it takes a break while another crypto is moving up. If you know that your crypto is sitting on the sidelines, you can focus on a smaller one until it's time to get back in your real one. You're like the coach of the game. You get to choose who gets to do the basketball, who gets to go in the game. Your star player's on the sidelines taking a break. But when it's time for him to come back in the game, you guys are going to do well. Right? Let's give you this. All right. Let's go to a smaller time frame before moving on from BEPRO. You guys are doing fantastic. I'm really proud of you in this time and season. You guys are doing great. In the smaller time frame, let's look at the volume and see if we can see the volume drying up. Ultra high volume down towards the tiger line means what is happening here? Does anybody know? Anybody want to guess? When this bar right here came to this area and we had high volume compared to the other down move, what does this mean at this area? There's a lot of what? It starts with an S. Starts with an S. Anybody want to guess? A lot of
Supply.
supply. That's right. Supply is the answer. A lot of supply. So they'll raise the price and challenge it again is usually what that means. But where's the supply at? The supply is down here. So this increases the odds that we're going to see us go back down to these areas. I gave you the same answer in Bitcoin earlier in the video. I'm going to show you real quick. What was it last week? Oh, it's over there. One moment. Oh, yeah, this is what I talked about last week. In the Bitcoin, there was a lot of supply on the down moves. I said, don't be surprised if they challenge it again. We want to see that supply drying up. Plus, and that's on the weekly charts. This is today. And Saturday, we talked about the same situation. I'm going to show it to you guys real quick so you understand this concept. I'll pull up a live chart of it. I like to give you guys the pictures of what it looks like before it happened. Bitcoin on the down moves, lots of supply on Wednesday, Tuesday. Wednesday's class, we were up at 67,000, somewhere around there. I said, but look at the supply. Look for us to have another down week on Bitcoin because there's too much supply. And I made a slide. I think I wrote too much supply is what I actually wrote. But if you go to that video, you're going to see from Wednesday's class, there's a lot of supply. So we're going to challenge it again. And we went down here Saturday. We don't need to have an emergency video. We know that Bitcoin should have a down move. And Bitcoin at the top, being underneath that parabolic on the smaller time frames, was supposed to go down anyway. All of its evidence, you're supposed to go down. But the setup is still there. Let's go back down to today's chart. To BEPRO. Okay. A lot of supply, which means what? We should be going down. They need to challenge. They need to drain up that supply. Does anybody have any other questions about BEPRO? Okay. On what to expect over the next few days or this week. Are we expecting it to go to the moon tomorrow?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Are we at low demand? Almost no demand? Yes, but there's ultra supply down here. So even though there's no demand, the average volume of supply is being coming out. They're going to still take it to the low side. Just like SHIBA, same thing. They took out the no demand on the top side, but then they spiked it down to test to see if there was still a lot of sellers there. And there was still a lot of people willing to pay for those prices in part. So the banks are like, okay, we'll pay those prices then. Give me lower. If I can get lower prices, give me those. There's a lot of people still selling at those areas. They still want to take profit. They're shaking them out over time is what they're doing. And SHIBA, we'll look at it at the end. You guys will see. Just remember the concept. If there's too much supply, look for them to bring it down again. When they test after the health came in. It's in context. It has to be in context. The story again, overall health for BEPRO. We're in the up move. We're starting to get to the top. Price has to come down to these areas. It doesn't have to, but it's great when it does. But there's too much supply. So they're going to challenge it again a few times, and then it's going to eventually look like a watch line is forming. And then when we beat that watch line, then it's going to go up. But that's a good news. If you are going down, you can start bringing timing into play. We'll use the red tops for this. Okay. Draw a watch line. All right. Let's move on to the next cryptos. I'm going to put an alert. I'm going to duplicate that line and just put this one off in the blue and put a little alarm clock. BEPRO. Look for this crypto to close above this watch line. Price is about to move higher again. If we're getting closes. Once we get the close above that watch line, we're going up. The clues that this watch line is going to hold, and that's going to be the area, is in the volume. No other questions regarding BEPRO?
What's the tiger price?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. It is here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Let's bring it real close. Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So this is going to be one that we hope you guys do really well. We can navigate this in a few areas. And those are going to be our future tiger lines. Let's give you those prices as well. So we know if price next beats this price, 20.0023, then that means you should be going up to the next section. If price beats 0033, you're going up to the next one. If price beats that one, you're going up to the next one. And so forth and so on. It's going to build in its stages, and that's how you can navigate that crypto. Okay. Wait, let's see. Let's delete this. We don't need that one. That's just showing you examples of what could happen. But as it is, we're watching for the break line, the break of the watch line, and we're looking for the supply to be drained in this area. Okay. All right. That's how you navigate BEPRO. Elon. Here's an update then. Is it KuCoin? Yep, KuCoin. Is it time to panic? What are we looking at? Uptrend. Strong key angle. It's probably the key angle on the weekly chart. There's going to be our phantom on top. Looking real good. Price needed to break above there for the first health. First healths came in approximately here. Price did not respond to any shortcut. Shortcut has been deleted. The next health we have is the foundational support. Price is playing on top of that line, very healthy. Bounce, bouncy. Okay, we got a parabolic to the downside approximately here. If we were to connect all these tops here, we can see an angle something like that, which means the next health is here in this territory, which is right for it to go up. Elon went up, and now we're back in this area. What do we do with this? Does anybody know? This is a daily chart. The candles with a lot of noise are a clue. Is it time to panic? It was supposed to go here. How did we get that line? Let's calculate that line. It's our descent. So before we broke out into health, what was the last thing we did? The last thing we did was go down and approximate this angle. We duplicate that energy. It's like this. 1, 2, 3. We take that angle, duplicate it out, put it on top. We need to stay above that line. Okay, so we pay attention to that line. I will take a screenshot of this, by the way, so you know. Okay. So somebody tell me, is it time to panic? Yes or no? What should we do or should not do first on the map? If we think we're going to go up to there to our targets, which we laid out using targeting system, and those prices, but price is hanging out below here, what do we do? Is it time to sell? Is it time to get out? Was it ever time to buy?
Check the weekly.
Check the weekly. Yes, that's correct. That's the answer we're looking for. Okay. We want to zoom out to the higher time frames. What are we going to see when we look at the higher time frames? I can almost guarantee you what we're going to see. The same thing we saw. Again, the theme of today, why I started with XOR, SHIBA, and BTC. Let's show them quick. XRP, watch it. Pushing, stopping right on the support. SHIBA, Bitcoin, stopping on the support. SHIBA, this is from my phone yesterday, sitting on top of the support, stopping there. Did it spike below? Absolutely. Is it stopping here? That's what it appears to be happening. And I said, when you see this happening, you're going to see it across the board. Watch. We saw it with AI.DOGE, the very next crypto, doing the same thing. This is why. Am I kicking a dead horse? Yes. But am I training you? Absolutely. Why are we stopped right here? Because it's building, my friends. It is building. You're about to see one of the biggest moves in crypto history to the upside. Let's look at this on the weekly chart. What are we going to find? It's building pressure on this side. This is what we want. We want to see it stopping right there on that line. Did the last week stop on there? Almost exactly on the weekly. What about this? On this bar right here, past this phantom, because this is a phantom line. This is our key angle. This is a smaller key angle. What are we looking for as far as volume goes? Does anybody know? Let's see. I'm just trying to make that thinner. There we go. What are we looking for on March in the volume on this bar on March 4th? Pushing volume. Same story, right? It's the same story. Once you learn them on one crypto, you're learning them across the board. Do we have pushing volume? Let's look. Yes or no on that day? Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You bet your backyard we got pushing back volume right there. ultra high pushing volume. Exactly. So is the move, therefore, a move above that yellow line, an accident or on purpose? Why does the ultra high volume have to come in there? Why not down here? If it's all the buyers, why aren't they buying here? I'm sure they were in the past, but it's not there in the volume, at least here. Why is this ultra high compared to, what is it, 60 trillion, whatever, 60T, whatever T means. In this example, it's probably. Why is it there on that bar? Because that's where it needs to be, my friends. This is a weekly chart. This is where it needs to be, because that's where all the sellers would have taken profit. All the sellers in this thought maybe we're still in a downtrend. They would have given too much supply here and they would have flooded the market. So if the people who are bought and accumulate want to drive prices higher, they have to do something. They have to get it past this level. You're going to have to beat them, and it pushed. So they have to pour money in it just to keep it above the line. And once they did, then they can stop. Then they can take their foot off the gas because it's coasting. They pushed. What's the next bar? What's the next money-making maneuver they did? What candle is that? Somebody tell me what candle this is. The wicks all the way up here.
Shakeout?
Shakeout. That's right. All right, same story over and over. Shake out. The cherry on top. That bar. High wick, low wick, closing near the middle. Okay, that's your shakeout bar. And that's the money-making maneuver to throw everybody off. Make sure they take profits. Make sure that they get stopped down. Drive it up. Make it think that they're going to make money. Then drive it down, scare them, and then drain up the supply. Is the volume trending in the right direction on the down bars? What direction is volume supposed to trend now? Up or down? As we're going down lower and lower, back to these areas, what is supposed to be happening with volume? Anybody remember? Volume's supposed to be going up, down, sideways. What is it supposed to be doing as we go down in this area? Now that the health is lower? Yes. Now, that's right. Now that we pushed, we now need volume to go lower. So it drains up all the supply. Once all the supply is gone, the markup can continue. Okay? That markup hasn't happened, but the volume on these down bars is getting lower and lower. And as we're coming into the same areas, we're getting lower and lower. Here we tested that area back on whatever date this was, and the volume was about right here. Now we come back down to these same areas. Let's go straight down. Yesterday, and the volume's here. So we're seeing volume going lower and lower. This is good. Draining of the supply is bullish.
So the lower it goes, the higher it goes.
Yes, it's, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put this as DR. Okay, we're gonna put that as that. We want to see that. We want to see all the volume going lower, so we know that we're on the right track. I may not have a watch line yet, but we know that Elon is right. Okay, and we want to see that only after the health appeared. So let's now go to see if we can draw a watch line on the 12 hour, and if not, then we'll look at the 6 hour, and then if not, I'm just going to give up. Here's a foundational watch line we can watch, approximately here. All right, that gives us, if we're just staying till today, maybe this is around March 30th.
So Jay, I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So is this why the Lord said nitpick the volume?
Yeah. And I think I've been obedient this month.
This month only?
Yes. No, regarding volume, I did a lot of, almost every time we've been teaching, we were just looking at the volume because it's revealing and it's helping give people peace. Okay. Sometimes the fires, like I had at the beginning of the dream, I had a dream I was putting out a fire in a community center where everybody was living and staying and worshiping. And I believe that represented maybe our community, maybe the crypto community just by and far. I think there's a lot of panic that's probably going on, that's happening right now. A lot of people who are not looking at the data that we have. I don't know anybody who has the tiger lines. I don't know anybody who has the mixed tiger lines or the wash lines. There's barely people who have the phantoms, whatever they may call them, in the crypto community. They don't know what they're looking at, and then everybody's just expecting a crash. But I can tell you unequivocally in the data over and over again. You guys are seeing, I'm not making this stuff up. Everybody who's in this class today is watching with your own eyes the same story over and over again. The crypto change, the angles change, but the story's over and over. The data we see on USDT.D sitting underneath. Guys, I believe you're about to experience one of the strongest wealth transfer moves in April because of some of this data. And some of it's going to be real soon. Some of these cryptos are going to pop off sooner than normal. But we can see price building exactly where it's supposed to. I had dreams, 6 dreams throughout the night, that prices was moving up. I kept seeing, I even saw a list of cryptos from the future that I was looking at. I could clearly see the names of some of these cryptos. And I was like, whoa, I own some of these cryptos in the future. I saw people being blessed. And I don't want you guys to be whipsawed by just the fear or maybe a guru, because we could be wrong, but at least we have data, right? At least we can say that we stood by data. Or people in the prophetic communities, you can be wrong, but at least you had the leading of the Lord, or what you have at least felt like was the leading of the Lord, or what you had something to go to the Lord in prayer, at the very least, to pray about. We at least had some kind of inclination rather than just speculation. We have something now. Now we put all that together. It starts building a powerful story. And this is how I believe God is going to help navigate many of us through wealth transfer events. Okay? Because it's going to give you help with timing. It's going to help you with prophetic. It's going to help you have peace in the market. It's going to have peace because there's times to sell. And there's times when you need to be accumulating. And I told you, short-term weakness on Saturday, last Saturday, on Bitcoin this week, that happened. I said, look for some of the lower prices to be hit. Those are the times to accumulate. Now we're seeing that play out. Prices sitting almost exactly on many of those lower prices. This is the times for many of you guys to start planting your seeds. And if you've been sitting on it, if you haven't bought some cryptos or you haven't got seeds, I'm concerned that you may miss out on some of the blessings because there's a lot of the wealth transfer that's going to happen through crypto markets. There's a lot of ways God's going to do it. But there's the people who are in crypto spheres, they're going to move up faster, I believe, than many people because the seeds are ready. They're not just waiting for one event. There are going to be multiple events. Like that dream that somebody had years ago where they saw they had a basket of wealth and they poured it into SHIBA and it grew. And then they poured that wealth into XLM, and then it grew. And then they poured all of that into XRP, and then it really grew. And that's basically what's going to be happening. There's a sequence of events, of things that are setting up and moving, and there's lots of fish to be caught. And there's lots of big events that are going to happen, but there's little events that I don't want you to miss out as well that are also very large. And I believe that's what God is going to do. I watched a video from Prophet Robin yesterday. It was called the Wealth Trend.
Can I say something before you say that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I gotta go back in. I'm on my break. I'm
okay.
sorry. I do apologize.
Okay.
The Lord said not too long ago, He said on a word, and I wrote it on VIP. Actually, everybody was here. Actually, I spoke it. I don't know if you were here or not. I think it was Saturday or whichever. Anyway, the Lord spoke, and He said, stop talking about going down. He's going to do it regardless. It's going to be like a roller coaster, a rolling roller coaster, He said. And it's going to be in stages. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And this is why we have you and we have everybody who's in TA and wisdom, understanding, and discernment in every area. It may go down, but it's going to come back up just settling. It's to get us. We get money and we go back in. We get some money, we go back in. That's what He's doing. All in stages. And He's been telling us for the longest time. For the longest time. He told us not to talk about crashing. It's just dust settling.
Now, let's continue this conversation. If we see that there's times to get out, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily fear. But there's a time when fear takes over a heart of a person, and then their emotions become the guiding forces of their trades. And that is the fear that the Lord does want us to stay away from. There's a wisdom, like a godly fear, not to do something that we shouldn't do. Stick your finger in a light socket. Okay? There's things that we need to not jump off a mountain, right? But that comes to wisdom. But there's a fear that when we feel out of control type of fear. We feel like we don't know where to place our feet. The Lord tells us over and over in the Bible not to fear. Some said it's 365 times, although I personally didn't count. Some say it's 365 times in the Bible, one for each day of the year. And that's very interesting, because if we are only acting out of our emotions, you're gonna get out of some of the best positions you're supposed to be in. Or you're not going to be able to get into a position because you're too gripped by fear or paralysis. If you're still fear of missing out, then when it comes time to sell, you'll still be left holding the bag because your fear of missing out on so much money. The market's moved by two factors, greed and fear. Fear of missed opportunity. Fear of missing out. It's the same thing. And fear of loss. Those are the primary fears. Greed and fear move hand in hand. But if we're walking with the Lord, He's going to start surrounding your life and surrounding your mind with the right illumination. He's going to show you with the light where you need to look, where you need to go. The Bible says you will hear a voice behind you saying, go. This is the way you should walk, therefore in. Walk, therefore in. There's going to be that you're going to hear a lot in the markets, and you need to be able to respond to that piece. There'll be like a knowing that you need to look somewhere, that you need to see something, that you need to understand something, you need to watch something. And it's not necessarily on YouTube, but it means to watch out for something the Lord is trying to say to you. And if you don't know it, keep going back to your knees in prayer. Keep going to your prayers. Lord, what are you trying to show me? Please show it to me. Please show it to me. And He'll bring it to you multiple times, in multiple areas. Okay? I don't see any crash in the data just right now. I see us still sitting on top of that line. There's a sludge line that we saw in USDT that's very important. And guess what? Price is past that line. And we're coming up to the underside of that. I said, that's a good indication. We're going to hit the 3.14 number, if not lower, but it's at least 3.14 is where the target is on, which means Bitcoin can hit up to 120 something thousand within those times, which means that there's about to be a move in the markets that's powerful. But we don't just have USDT.D. We can see Bitcoin. The Lord showed me Bitcoin's rounding, sitting on top of its old flat. That is important. We're coming down exactly on nice round structure. That's a very positive sign. Bitcoin's going to go higher. What about the markets? What about the markets? What about other cryptos are setting up left and right, sitting on top of their phantoms, building the supports exactly where they need to be building their supports. And over again, we're seeing strength and health. I'm going to show you one other thing about this crypto. We see price sitting on top of this phantom. We see price. We also did a tiger analysis on Elon. Duplicated out. We can see that there should be resistance approximately here. And there was. But there's something else I didn't catch, and I'm going to show it to you right now. If all you did, my son, if all you did was draw this angle here, and you drew that as an energy center. 1, 2, 3 at the core, you can see that price is still sitting exactly where it should be. It gave us resistance. If we place it exactly here, it gave us resistance. It doesn't need to sit down, hit that resistance again and go down. Usually it's only once. This time we broke above. So even though we have now 1, 2 areas of support in the charts, that's a very powerful thing. So this week, the actual support could be as low as this that we need to close Sunday night at 8 p.m. That's the price. But I'll give you both of those prices If you're trading Elon, praise God. It's strong. It's strong. If you break above this line, you're going up higher. This will go continue going here. This is the area I'm actually looking at. Okay. Anybody have any other questions for Elon as far as the crypto? Current price, lots of zeros, 300000024. Oh. All right. Let's move on. See, Lydia. Hey, Lydia. Says, I only have XRP and SHIBA from 2022. Thankful I came across JSong's channel. At least after seeing those chart interpretations, I'm more confident to put more money into crypto. Since JSong said April will be the month the crypto go up. Yep. May I know which of the cryptos are more ready to take off besides Bitcoin and SHIBA and others like Algo? Elon is in a strong position right now. I think we'll do a recap at the end. We'll check to look at some that are probably more quicker to move up. Let's go to Luna Classic. I can tell you some big movers, but there's a lot that we are watching. Their watch lines, and those are going to be the biggest tells. There was one today that we found, only one that's beating its watch line right now. All right. Still sitting on top of the second target on the bottom, which is this one, 00015 to 00012, and it's sitting right there. We stopped last week just sitting right exactly on it. This week we spiked down to the lower support, but are sitting again still on it. That's exactly what we want to see. These are the arrows that we're looking for prices to do. So Luna Classic, no new updates for you. This is the weekly key angle, or KA, duplicated up, placed on the phantom. We can see that there's like a little vortex area right in the crevice between this old flat, HB, a hidden Balor, and this area. So I'm primarily concerned with this area. And I think that's where we're going to go. We're still within the range. Let's move this down a few weeks. And now the new price is going to be somewhere a little bit higher towards the high side. This is closer to around 3.7. So this is going to change from 3.4 to 3.7 this week. As time goes on, that makes it go higher until we get past the HB altogether. And then we'll just look for two different trades at that time. But as it is right now, the number to beat for this week, or next week I should say, is 00017. Okay, sorry, I mute people. All right. Did we have any questions regarding Luna Classic? If we draw a watch line, we can draw one on the daily, I believe. The watch line's here. So the exact number we need to beat is approximately the one I showed you, 00017. Get me above there, then we'll talk. Until then, price can bounce around and play in these areas. It's not exactly ready, but it's already in a strong position. We just don't know when the next break will happen above there. Okay, we gotta wait. Right now it's approximately April 16th. That price can play in this area along this support, and the support's been holding. On the weekly chart, it's been holding. So the watch line and the weekly meet together approximately April 16th. So look to somewhere before then for price to make a decision up or down. Okay, if we're phasing below here on the following week, that would be weakness. Most likely we're going to break above and challenge these areas here, and then just be able to finally move up. All right. Draw that watch line. Let's move on. Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused with this one. Have you looked at volume? Is there anything else that we could just look at? Spend like 1 minute looking at that might give any indication of what it's doing?
Yeah. Okay. Health. That's a sign of health. This is the trend. So we would expect, therefore, prices to come down to what? 00015. Okay. And then the up move should resume. And then approximately we're trying to get to 00017. And from here we can actually come back down. But if we break that, then you're going to go up. That's actually really good. So then, therefore, this watch line here is just the weaknesses, for weaknesses. Okay? So this is good. So therefore, our real watch line for the move to resume is approximately here. Let's make that really thick. So that's our new watch line. And this should be the bigger one. We'll just make it light blue. Okay? All right, same analysis, but now flipped. Okay, so this is when the real health should resume. It's in alignment with the larger term health. Let's look to see if we're going to have any more issues. Are we going to have some issues? Do we have some unresolved issues on the smaller time frame? If you guys are looking, this is a 2-hour chart again. Yes, you should have some issues approximately about sword cut. There's 2 issues I foresee. Okay, and I'm going to point them out to you. Number 1, we may have some issues about right here, sword cut. Number 2, you're going to have hidden valor issues. Why would I have hidden valor issues? The issue is that this by far is the essence of this trend line. You guys can see that. What do we do about this? We draw the hidden valor. Michelle knows the answer. You draw it here, flat at the core when we go back underneath the water, and then we draw it here at the core. This is a 2-hour chart. So I don't normally spend all this time just doing a 2-hour chart, but I'm going to, so you guys remember these principles and how they work. If I was drawing it, I might put my hidden valor here, number 1 in blue, and then I'll do my other hidden valor here around the course, which is somewhere about right there. Okay, so look for these to be guide markers. When you see price building above this area, you know you're going up. When you see it going up here, you're probably going up to there. When you see us coming back into this area, you know that there's a lot of sludge in that area. Don't be surprised if we're just bouncing around between here and here. Okay, I'll give you those prices right now. Let's give you about a range. This is some smaller is my favorite word to use. Smaller. No, not that word. That's my sister's word. She used that one. She says the word shrinkly. It's like where you shrink and get wrinkly. Was that your word? No, that was my sister's, was it? Yeah, I think she said it to me and I said it to you. But I won't take that word. I just like smaller. 0, 0, 0, 2, 0. Yeah, wait, that's a flat line. Okay, put this on top, sorry. 0.00022. HB2. HB1. Okay. Alright, smaller 2-hour chart only. 2-hour chart only. Let's go back to our, you know why? Because I know why. Because when I loaded up the new chart settings, were saved on inversion. So that's why. All right, let's load up our other chart. And let's compare the images and the prices. Are they in alignment with each other? 00017 is around the watch line for this week, or for the day. Then we're going to take a look at our picture. 2-hour chart, 00017. Is the smaller chart in alignment with the larger chart? Yes or no? Anybody catch that? Yeah or no? Sí or no?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Okay. That's how you can do that. You can make sure that what you're trading on the larger term time frame is what you're trading on the smaller term 2-hour, 1-hour, stuff like that. So people who want an intraday chart, you can really break it down if you want to and make some intraday money if you have the time. And if you are doing that. And if you're navigating. If you see shorter term weaknesses entering, you can get out. Okay? And get back in. But don't sleep on it. For some people, you do not, and you should not do this. This is not for everybody. Not everybody's a trader. Some of you guys need to just rest and kick back and only buy at low map points. Superfold coined the term best. He said, he dollar cost maps. Dollar cost averaging is buying random prices throughout the year, hoping that on average you get some good prices. But if you guys have a map, you don't have to do that. When the smaller term weakness comes in, you can get out and just buy back your positions. But you have to buy them back in when the health comes in. And you have to watch. So it does mean you have to be practiced, and I cannot do it for you. In the beginning, I tried to just navigate a lot of cryptos, and it's just too many cryptos for me. And it sucks my life away. I have a lot of things to do in my life. And I want you guys to have the skill to fish so you guys can do these same principles over and over on the smaller time frames, larger time frames, whatever time frames you want. I teach you how to read, and you can read whatever you want to read. Go to the library. There's a million possibilities open up. I'm going to teach you how to create a map, and you guys learn how to read whatever you want to trade and navigate those. And if you need help with each other, start talking with each other in VIP. Share your maps on VIP. Okay? That's what VIP is for. You can share your maps. Hey, do you think I'm doing this right? Hey, what do you guys see? Hey, do you guys see? I'm back here on Mondays and Wednesdays and Saturdays to cover, and I'll help add my map to your map. Maybe I have lines you don't see. Maybe I see things you don't see. All right? But as you draw, you get better and better. Let's finish up for today. We just got a few more cryptos. Let's go to 88. All right. Breaking above the yellow parabolic. Strong sword cut still hot. This sword cut is still hot. We're going to add to the keyword hot. That means it's untouched, ready to go. If price comes down here for whatever reason, we're going to probably move up quick. Now, we look at what happened before the health came in. The health came in here. What happened? We calculate the descent. In this case, the descent is actually a flat angle. We take that flat angle, duplicate it on top of the energy centers. 1, 2, 3. We take this angle, bring it up here. We now know where the resistance should have been. The resistance should have been here. But that didn't happen. Price broke above that area. And did we break up on purpose? Was it a fluke because we came right back down? So does that mean we were coming down all the way? Let's look at the volume. Did we have pushing volume on that day? Yes or no? On that bar right there when we pushed past where we were supposed to stop. What kind of volume is this? On ADA. On that day.
Pushing.
Pushing. It is pushing bar. It is pushing volume. Over and over, the same story we see, right? I told you guys you're going to see the same story over and over again. It gets old after a while, right? But you learn it. Reinforcement. Okay? So that means I could have got out here, but would I have lost money if I took profit right at that price, whatever price that was, 0.46 cents? Would I have lost some money? Let's just think about it for a second logically. I got out here. I'm scared to miss the whole move. Would I have lost anything? Because price is higher now. Price went all the way to 70 cents. Somebody tell me. Nobody? The answer is you wouldn't have lost a thing. Because if you took profit here and you're scared of missing out on the run, price came back down to there where you took profit. So if all you did was just have your targets set at targets, don't be surprised if price gives you another opportunity to get in. Okay? So we take... Sorry, Pat, I'm going to mute you. So we see price hitting this area. You can take profit. Then we get the next trade that starts once price comes back down after a watch line is broke. We had a smaller watch line on the smaller time level charts. You didn't lose a thing. When you have crypto maps, they help you navigate price in a strong way so that you're not missing out on some of the biggest runs as best you possibly can, right? As best as we can figure out. It looked like this, okay? So ADA is going exactly as expected on schedule. Now, this is a weekly chart. The support for this week is supposed to be approximately right there at 6.064 cents. We're at a target. It's possible ADA may lose its health if we close below here. But as it is, we're seeing a big support push right here, aren't we? And is that bullish or bearish for price to close along this track? Bullish or bearish? Especially if we close right exactly at 6.4. What is it?
Bullish.
Bullish. That's right. Bullish. If we close, especially if we close exactly at that price. So I want to pay attention, especially to ADA. Is it in danger of weakness entering if we close below here? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. If we close below there, how far should price be going down? Does anybody want to guess how far price would be going down? Sword cut is possible for that smaller watch line. Okay. Just say we didn't have that sword cut. Where would we go? Let me go to a daily chart. It may help you see it clear. Anybody want to guess how far price should be going if we fall below this area? I don't want to say guess. I want you guys to draw. See if you guys can draw it. I like to give you guys opportunities to learn. 36 cents? Nope, nobody's drawn on my chart. Let me flip it upside down and see if you guys can catch it now. How far should price rise if we break above this area? Okay. Okay, that's one way. Yeah. You guys, nobody's drawing new lines on my chart. I'm really surprised. I have to be a better teacher. Draw the flow of energy first. Let's draw it together. Okay, nobody's drawing what I want you guys to draw. Close. The closest person who's got is Michelle, but even that's off. All right. Here it is. I'm gonna erase your guys' lines. We're gonna draw it together. Okay, watch what I draw. Here's the flow of energy.
I saw it after you said it.
Try again. All right, somebody draw it again. How far are we going? If price breaks above, that's right. That's exactly right. That's correct. We draw this angle here, connecting these two energy centers. We duplicate it out, place it at the third. Price should go exactly to here. Now let's flip it back around. So how far should price fall to in the first beginning if weakness does enter? The answer is 55 cents. 55 cents. Okay. I'm gonna clear your end.
That you had before?
There's a smaller sword cut in this area. Let's hold on. Before drawing that, let's draw that angle. Okay. Hold on, let's give it screen color. This here. So maybe approximately 53 cents, yeah. Okay. The smaller sword cut that was in that area, that was this really small, was based on this smaller parabolic here, which could put a sword cut, a smaller one, approximately here, which is still around the same prices. Okay, so that's how you can navigate that. But that's only if you're not getting the close above here, if on the weekly chart. But that's a daily chart. That's a very strong possibility. But again, the weekly chart's about to be set up. If price closes exactly like this, then maybe those smaller ones could still happen, but look for them to be very short-lived. If right now we're already trending exactly how you want to, we want to see that pressure and support along that dotted line right here, because that's the larger story. So I don't discount it. Don't get caught up so much on those smaller time frames if you see the bigger moves already setting up. If I see it stop right exactly there, I'm going to be looking for the next price to go up. The other thing I want to see is low volume. I want to see that as we came down in these last 3 weeks, the volume going down. Do we see it? Yes. That's a good sign that the line is going to hold. Okay. If I see too much supply in there, I'm going to be looking for it to challenge lower. Okay. Look for, this is a strong indication that we're going to hold. You got 1 day and 8 hours left. 1 day. 1 day and 8 hours left. Sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. I want the line to hold like that. And so for ADA, May it please stay 1 day and 8 hours late. All right, let's see how VRA is doing. We don't have volume on crypto.com. It's going to be our weakness. We don't really need to highlight this weakness area. All right, VRA in the uptrend, strong foundational line. This one is holding. Okay, this will be an example of if we had the volume. We don't have the volume on this one. Yeah, there's no volume on crypto.com. I can't talk about that. Okay, price breaking above the parabolic on top. It's a very slight parabolic. It's actually a little off. It should be about like that and a little bit higher. Okay, it's gonna tell us the health came in the market here on September of 2023. Sword cut was created. Price breaks and rounds on that sword cut within the overall trend. That's very bullish. Okay, that's very healthy. That's exactly what we want to see. And then price moves up. Okay, as it should. People who are really surprised that it's moving up, you guys are not watching the sword cut videos. I want you guys to really learn that, so you guys are not missing out on this. This is a symbol we draw all the time. It looks like this. Okay, price rounding on there. Now lately I've been using a lot of parabolics just to draw my arrows because they're more smoother at smaller time frames. But that's basically what we're looking at. If we were navigating the shorter term stuff, just to navigate, just to take that whole move in slow motion, real quickly, you got your watch line. Foundational area here, weakness appears under here. See, here's the flow of price. Weakness appeared here. When we're trading here, it's right for us to go down. Then when does the health resume? We can get out here, buy at a lower price, maybe back at sword cut, maybe start calculating some lower moves, seeing, hey, we're trading under here, we should be going back down. And we do. When is the next health appeared? Above here. That watch line. Did the health appear from there? Yep. You bet your baby. Right there. Health appeared. Now, price is ready to move up. We already navigated this because we saw it in advance. We don't even need to have these on anymore. That's how we can read the whole move in slow motion. When I designed sword method, or when it was revealed to me, I wanted to make a method on how I can find the bottom of cups and handles well before the cup and handle was even formed. I wanted to see if I could find the exact bottoms in ways, but it caused me to read the relationships between the trend lines, the breaks, their health, multiple points, and it would just it would form these. But in slow motion, I can dissect all of just this and realize it's just the same thing over and over again. Okay, we can take that on a 2-hour chart and you can break it down again. But ultimately, it allows me to find the bottoms of cups and handles before they are. But I have to read them in context. So I keep looking at the larger story, seeing what's really happening. Overall, we're looking to round here. But the shorter term time scale said it's time to get out. So therefore, I can get out and buy more back here, maybe buy 20-30% more, depending on how much money was in between there. Okay, and then I make sure that I'm back in once the move starts and the health comes in. Okay, this is how you can navigate this. If you're trading whatever crypto you're trading, this is the same principles over and over again. In addition to all of that, we not neglect some of the other things that are happening. Once we have our main channel, we know our step-ups are to be watched. When we cross from one side or to the other of the channel, we watch that middle point. Where price crosses over that middle point is important. That's our step up. We draw that in gray. We had verification here. I shouldn't have too much rejection in this area, but it could be an area that may come up. This is where we rejected just recently. We knew the middle price hit the middle almost exactly, 0139. It's all on our old VRA maps. Go on our website, type in the little search bar, type whatever crypto you're looking at, and we have maps for almost all of that. So now let's see. Where are we going? What is VRA doing? Let's see if we can draw the most recent watch line. It is the same. Oh, sorry, not a recent watch line. Our last support is the same as the larger story. It's all in alignment, right? So we can just take this angle and do what with this angle? To see what price is doing right now, today. What can I do with this exact angle? Now that I know this angle, how can I find this to use this angle to make me money or help me get out of crypto when I need to get out? Anybody know real quick? Let's see if somebody's new. Anybody want to guess? 10 more seconds. I drew this angle. How can I use this to make me money? Okay. The answer...
Bring it up to the top.
Good job. All right. Good job, Nardu. Good job, Mark. We want to duplicate it, bring it up to the top. Therefore, I'm going to put a lot of emphasis and weight on here. Should it confirm on the weekly chart? Absolutely. It should give us that real answer on the weekly chart, because this is a lot of noise. When we see lots of wicks and stuff like that, and we see all the candles just grouping like that, I think I need to zoom out. I want to see support here plus the pushing area. Where's the pushing? On this area. Where on this area would I be looking on my chart? Somebody circle it for me. Where would I be looking for confirmation? I don't want to draw all of this. For high volume, ultra high volume, to know that it's not just an accident. Anybody know? Anybody want to circle on my chart where we need to expect that ultra high volume? Right there. That's right. Good job. Let's pull it up. Let's look at the volume. See how well we did. Oh, there's no volume. Let's pull up another chart. We're going to look at this date. What is this date? March 2nd. Okay. The bar is March 2nd bar. Let's pull up another quick chart. VRA on, let's see, KuCoin and USDT.D. And on March 2nd, there it is. Let's see if I can draw it actually here. Quickly. Here, a little higher. Key angle. Phantom angle. The push, March 2nd. Here's the average volume. Down here, here's the volume for this bar. Up here. That's above average volume. Not exactly the push, but we can see the push from left, this other bar right about here. There's a lot of supply in this area. So they come back down, challenge that same supply on the underside, it holds. Is there a lot of supply still in the market? When they brought it down, was there too much supply in this area?
Yes.
You bet your barnacles. So what happens? They have to bring it down into the area and drain up the supply, right? What do now we're going to expect? We're going to expect them to bring it back to this area. Now, what are we looking for in the volume? Somebody tell me now what we're looking for in the volume so we know when VRA is ready. It's cooking in the oven. What do we want to see here?
No demand.
We want to see no demand. That's one thing we want to see. What else do we want to see?
Low volume.
Okay, which is close to no demand.
Below average volume?
Low volume. Yeah, that's all no demand. Low volume. We want to see volume doing something. The answer is we want to see trending volume down. Okay? As we go down, we want to see them let off the gas and drain up all the supply in these areas. So we want to see that no demand or low volume in these areas. We want to see, are we seeing that? Evidence that's the case. Yes. Okay, that's how you know. All right, this means you're going in the right direction. Okay, so the clues and the evidences are stating that this is exactly what we're supposed to be seeing for markets to move up and move up substantially in this VRA crypto. Again, we're seeing the same story over and over again, right? On all the cryptos. The daily chart is below this line. Should I be concerned? No. What am I looking at? What do I need to do to not be concerned? Especially Sunday night at 8 p.m. Weekly close. We turn to the weekly chart. I want to see this crypto closing below. And I can know the exact price too. 011. Is this a little bit scary?
Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You're right. It is a little bit scary. Is it time to buy it right now?
No.
No. What should I do if I was wanting to decide? I see evidences that we're supposed to be hanging out. The first week we spiked below here, but we didn't close. Second week we closed almost exactly on the line, but still spiked below. Now we're spiking below. We may or may not get that close. If we do, that's bullish. If not, it's still not the end of the world, but we weren't in the trade anyway because we need something to get in. What do we need to do? What needs to happen before we get in, even if we do see evidences that we're in the right direction? Yeah, you can do that. You can wait. If candle closes just like this, and I'm going to show you. Okay. I'm going to show you. If the candle closes just like this, you can buy it. That's one thing you can do. But are you going up right away? If the candle looks like that, you can buy it. Okay.
Then you can do a watch line?
Yes. The answer is we're looking for is...
12 hours?
Yeah, the answer is we're looking for a watch line. Okay. Because even if we get that close, price can still waste our time. I see. What type of watch lines will we be looking at on this chart? This is a daily chart. There's two types of watch lines we can use on this in this segment. One's probably more powerful than the other. So we know what to enter and what price to enter at if we were going to buy it.
A flat?
A flat, that's right. The flat is what we're going to be looking at. And why a flat? Because if we look at all the tops, they're there. Okay, look at these flats. Just multiple flats here. So the entry would actually be for, in this case, above here. At that price, whatever price that is. I know now, if we continue to play in this area, we can still spike below just like we did the first day. We spiking all the way to 0.08, even though today is at 0.10. Because price isn't ready. Okay, too much supply was in the market, so I had to challenge. But we're in the right direction. We're still, especially if we get that close, we can still play back in here. I could probably get some good prices if we continue to be low, if I'm going to buy it anyway. But I will not expect it to do anything until we get above 0.15. Okay. 0.15 would be technically a watch line. Okay. We could do something like this and make it dotted white and just overlap it so you know it's also a flat. Okay. So that's one way you can do it. Another thing you can do is just perhaps, and I'm not so 100% sure about this one, but if we go to a 12-hour chart, it might show it. We may need to connect this last energy here, and this would look something like that. Okay, that might be something we would look at. In that case, we can see that price would probably go up to here, but it could also come back down if there's a lot of supply still. SHIBA did the same thing. We did a tutorial on a 1 hour, it was like a 2-hour chart, 1 hour chart, something like that. And I said, look for us to go up, but only to here. And we did exactly to that number, then we came back down. That was the stronger line, was meeting the smaller term held. So this watch line here, in a nutshell, is incorporative only, or incorporating, let's see, only this energy here. That's the size of that fish. But the larger fish that encompasses the whole move is back here. So two smaller fish, this is the stronger one back here. Therefore, I would put more weight on the 0.15, okay, rather than just this smaller one here. But you can use both to navigate if you want to, okay? But don't expect it to just immediately go to the moon. You may only get a short-term trade from here to here if you get the break, okay? You could navigate it in 2 trades. That's if you wanted to do some intraday trading stuff. All right. Finally, let's look at SHIBA. Okay, let's look at SHIBA today. Similar story. You guys learned it all today. You guys mastered the technique. SHIBA's trading below this line here. That's our mixed tiger line. Is it reason to panic? That's our line. Yet we got some closes this week on the daily chart. March 16th, March 18th, March 19th. Even today, yesterday, March 22, we're trading below about that area where we're looking at, the tiger line. Is it time to panic for SHIBA?
The weekly.
Check the weekly is the answer. Check the weekly is the answer we want to. Check the weekly. What is the weekly telling us?
It's in health.
That's right. You guys learn this stuff, you're gonna be pro. Because they're gonna spike it down below all the time. They did it the first week. You got some spikes. They're trying to shake you out of your positions. Then you come back up. Then we spike down again. Now, if there was ultra high volume on this bar, that means they're going to try to bring it down. They're supposed to do that because there's too much supply. Let's look at the volume. Was there ultra high volume still that first week? During the week, the whole week? March 11th? Yes. Look at the average. So it's right for them to test it. They're still draining the supply, but it's all still in the area. Let's go to the daily chart. Look at the same volume. What's really happening as we're in these areas? What's the volume really doing? This is the average up here. What's really happening as we're going down? It starts with the D.
Draining down.
Yes, it's
Being drained.
that's right. The supply is being drained. Is that bullish or bearish? And is that supposed to happen or not?
It's bullish.
That's bullish. Draining supply. That's what we want to see. We want to see them draining up so that they can build higher. We want to see them draining up because they took away all the supply and now the market can actually move. The markup can continue just like a housing market. When there's no more sellers, it happens. We got the push where we want to. Ultra high push when we needed to because we needed to crack that level. We cracked it. We got the shakeout bar on SHIBA. A lot of supply. When that shook up, it went all the way up here and it shake all the way down here. Do you know what that shakeout was really doing? It was testing all the supply. Within this range, is there a lot of sellers and there's a market? Yeah, there was a lot. So they bring it down to try to get the last of them out of the market. And the prankers, the professional monies, want to pay the best prices. Right now, the best prices are again around the support. So they're going to try to get as much prices as cheaply as possible. And they're paying pennies on the dollar. And guess what? The market is almost gone. When there's no more group of heavy suppliers, there's no more orders for them to fulfill at those levels. The markup will continue. And it's going to be one of the biggest moves in crypto history. I believe it's going to be high. I believe it's going to be up to there. I don't believe we're just stopping at our target because we blew past our target last time. I think SHIBA is going to have one of the strongest moves. And I've been backing up the bank. Or I've been loading up the bank. But not with leverage positions because you're going to get spiked down. Be careful with the leverage positions right now. But I believe SHIBA is going to go higher, and this is the next stage. We're probably going to be getting to target 2, past target 2, up to the top. Phantom. This is our key angle here, back here. Monthly key angle. Let's put it on the bottom left. This is our monthly phantom. Let's put it on the top. Okay. This is what's really happening with SHIBA, and you guys are going to see plenty of strong moves in the future, but this right now, I can tell you, this is the evidence we see, and it's evidence across the board. All right, now I said I would look at Ian's real quick XEC. Here is the chart, XEC, large parabolic, wow, strong parabolic. I think we talked about this one. This crypto is in a...
I've already shared the dream, and what I said was the price was moving up very quickly in that moment. But yeah, let's have a look, see what it says.
Sure, look at this. What it says. This crypto is in a strong position back in January on the higher weekly chart by virtue of being on top of the yellow parabolic. This line has been built over many years, as explained in today's episode. This crypto does not have a support around 00028. Does have support around 00028 and is currently at 00032. I would expect price to hit the 00049's lower side of target 1 because there's untouched. So I was expecting this to go to the target. I do feel comfortable entering now, longer term, but I do not expect price to do anything just yet until we clear the upper watch line on the daily chart. Currently that price area is 0.00035. I would expect price to move up quickly once there. I am very bullish this crypto longer term because of the structure provided Shiba Inu can hold, and it was linked to Shiba Inu as far as the structure goes. It is similar structure on its weekly charts. This is one of my favorite structures I have demonstrated many times. Let's pull up the weekly. Okay. Now this is very interesting, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. And I'm grateful that Ian brought it up again. Okay, let me take a picture real quick. Price built on top of that parabolic, right there. Was it any surprise we went up right there after building on top of that parabolic? And the watch line was this one on the smaller time frames. Actually, let me take that picture first before I... Here's that watch line. Was it any surprise? Look, I even drew it for you guys. I drew it for you guys. See that? Once we're here above this watch line, we're ready to move. Until then, you're not ready to move. It's like cooking cookies, right? We're just baking cookies. That's all. You wait till it's golden brown. When you have these watch lines breaking, if it's in alignment with everything, you're gonna do well. Okay? And that's also same with weaknesses. If it's upside down, it's the same story. I can trade this, but if I see this, hey, I'm getting out because it's gonna go down. If it's in alignment with a larger time frame. Now, why would I be so interested, or why would Ian be hearing something in the spirit recently about this crypto? We hit the target, made the money from there to there. What was the money that somebody made? Probably Ian made it. He made at least to the low side 58%, to the high side 115%. Why might he be mentioning it right now? Can anybody think of a way? Or a reason? Anybody? Why might the Lord...
SHIBA is about to bull?
Maybe not SHIBA. Anyone else have any bright ideas? Why do you think the Lord might highlight that for him? Looking at the data, I should say. Somebody tell me, especially if you're new, I want you to try. Look at this chart real quick, and I want you to tell me. The answer is it's in the data. If the Lord's highlighting this, there might be a reason. And it shows up in the data. There's natural signs that God gives us and physical signs, okay, in addition to the spiritual stuff. God gives us spiritual things, but he also gives us natural things. Jesus said to us in the Bible, he said, you know how to you look at the east and you look at in the morning at the sunrise and you see when the sky is red, that means it's going to rain later in the day. And then he says, so you know how to interpret the signs of the seasons and the times, but you don't know how to interpret the sign and the coming of the Son of Man. He says, you don't even realize I'm here, but yet you learn how to do all this in the natural. There's a link between spiritual and natural things. Some of those skills in the natural need to translate to spiritual, and also some of the spiritual skills need to transfer into the natural. Okay? If you're a minister and God gives you a word, there's a natural way you have to deliver the word with love. You have to do it correctly. Like I told you about the story about the prophet who God showed him all these things. So he started speaking something and then God rebuked him. Why did you say that? He said, because you showed it to me. He said, I showed you so you can pray for them, so you can minister correctly to them. Not so that you can go and expose all their sins to everyone. That's not why I gave you that gift. There's a spiritual gift that God will give you. And if you can combine those things with natural, you're going to be ahead of the game. Okay? There's a blending of the natural and spiritual that God does all the time. You know why? Because God had Moses stretch out his staff. God had you lay your hands on the sick. God did these things for you. He didn't just do it all himself. When he parted the seas, he had them do a physical action. When God did a prophetic, when he says, I'm going to lay siege works to Jerusalem, he had the prophet build little figurines. And then he said, now lay siege works with it, with the clay. Build these little toys. Build a diagram of it. And do it right there. Physical, blending, spiritual. You guys understand that concept? It's new for some people. What is happening right here? That's the resistance. That's the foundational line. That's your foundational key angle. Here's your phantom on top on green. What is price doing? Somebody tell me what XEC is doing. It starts with a B. You guys got this. Anybody? Anybody?
It's building on top of the line.
That's right. That's what we want. Look what the close last week. Look right now this week. We spiked down here, but where are we at? We're still above here. It is building on top of here. And if you know it's building, that means it must be going higher. Okay? There's a reason why it's building on here. It's to go higher. If the Lord is showing him, hey, focus on XEC, it's because the Lord wants to highlight this in a chart or a map, maybe see something we don't see. The Lord showed me a similar thing about the crypto called BAD. He gave me a vision. I wasn't even concerned about this crypto. I hadn't looked at it a year or something. I don't even have a chart on it. It was on my old iPad. I don't even have that data. I don't even have the data. The Lord showed me a crypto called BAD. I was just in an awake, open vision, and then I saw the words come at me, BAD, and I saw my chart, and I was like, woo. I felt like I was in a trance, going to sleep. I was something like that, and I saw the words BAD, and I was like, oh, is there a crypto named BAD? And Superfood was like, yeah, you did a crypto BAD a long time ago. I wasn't ready at the time. I pulled up the chart, and this is what I saw. We were sitting exactly like this on BAD. Right here. We were sitting right there. We had broken above on, it should be pushing volume. Yeah, so maybe it is. A little pushing volume, yep. Just a little bit in these areas. But whatever the case was, the Lord highlighted it to me right here. And I saw that we were on top of a parabolic. You know what I did the next day? I bought it. I didn't even wait till the next day. I bought it. I should have bought it the 2 days before when the Lord showed me, and it was down here. But I waited till here, and the Lord reminded me, hey, you didn't look at BAD. You've been bad. You need to look at it. Okay. And I looked and we were right here. The next day that we pop up and come back down over the next few days, shot up past all the targets, all the way to target number 3. All the way to target number 3. This is a merging of God's help in our cryptos. Okay? The data, it will help align up with a lot of these things. I asked Prophet Robin this 2 years ago. I said, the Lord's shown me these things in the cryptos. Am I going to miss the wealth transfer? He stopped for a second, and then he said, no, you're not going to miss it. I believe the Lord's telling me you're not going to miss it. And I believe that we're doing more than not just missing it. We're getting all the gleamings from it. We're gleaming this, that. We're going to glean many of those things, and these things are going to happen. Here's USDT.D real quick. If you guys missed the tutorial on USDT.D, watch it. It's on Saturday. Are we panicking right now in USDT.D? We're above this line on the daily chart. Are we panicking?
No.
What do we need to do to not panic right there on this chart? This is a daily chart. What should I do?
Check the weekly charts.
That's right. Check the weekly chart. What is the story now? What is the data telling me is happening?
Candle is still closing below.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. There's a lot of pressure on this line. Does that mean that we're going to go up back into the channel? If we're stopping right here. What does that mean? Yes. That means we should be going down. That's evidence. If this chart goes down, what happens to Bitcoin?
Goes up.
That's right. This chart, Bitcoin does the opposite of what this chart does. This is the measure of the flow of the dominance of Bitcoin, of USDT, which is tether dollars, which is primarily responsible for the manipulation that happens a lot in the markets because they use tether dollars, printing like the Federal Reserve. They print money out of thin air. They print tether out of thin air, which does not have the reserves. They're not federal. They don't have the reserves. That's what the wife of the tether, one of the tether founders said. She painted in her esoteric, crazy paintings the blood on the wall and the blood dripping down, and then a little sign that says it's not federal. We're not federal, and we don't have the reserves. And if the wife is saying this, one day it's going to come to light. But until then, this is the game we're playing. By the way, we were expecting prices to go up once we came to that spike zone. So was it any surprise that Bitcoin came down this last week for anyone who was watching that shorter term health? We were not panicked at all. We knew Bitcoin's supposed to have a bad week. Okay? Because we're in this zone. If you see the candle close like this tomorrow night at 8 p.m., guess what's going to happen to the cryptos possibly the very next week, which is to the end of this month? What's going to happen to cryptos?
Go up.
Yeah. So do you have much time after this week to trade? No.
Yes.
You may not. If the candle closes just like this and Bitcoin have a large pump, or this crypto go down the very next week, and you hit this number, and Bitcoin's at 120,000, these cryptos may take off without many of you guys knowing. So I want you guys to be thinking today and tomorrow, Sunday that there might be little time left before the next big pumps come in the market. I'm letting you know. Things have been going up and going down, but it's very possible you may not have much time. Spend today and tomorrow looking at this time. Now I'm going to read this that Raina sent from our Crypto in Christ. Some dreams that we got from some people in our community. The first one from Chris. It's from Chris, and it says this. This is Chris from Crypto in Christ. It says, when I woke up this morning, I had a dream. What I do remember is I think I was traveling on a bus of some sort with a team or group of people. Well transferred community? Possibly. We stopped at a kind of family-owned gas station, store, or general store to get food. And I remember that the family that owned the gas station when I got there. I did something for the family, and they were incredibly grateful for it. And they blessed me with not charging me for any food that I got or something. And then I got this feeling we were about to leave, that the father who owned the gas station wanted to bless me with something important or significant. But because he said something to the effect of, you need to wait until Sunday to get it, or why don't you come back on Sunday and we can discuss it, or something that like that, there was some sort of big present or blessing or big gift that he was going to give me on Sunday when I came back. Maybe a blessing coming Sunday, or to me, or to the entire well transfer community. A gas station is a place where you go to get refueled for your journey. We were on a bus journey. The Father owned the gas station where we were fed and got refueled for the journey. This Sunday is Palm Sunday. Wasn't that Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem? And I thought, wow, that's very interesting because we're also on a journey. The next one was a quick one. Let me one moment share this one. And it says this. Maybe the image doesn't show up. There it is. I was working today. This is from someone else. I was working today doing some landscaping work for a guy when all of a sudden I heard, here we go. It's coming. This weekend. All over about a minute. I sat there for a few minutes wondering if it was me or not. But the way it came while I was thinking about the task I was doing for the moment was not typical for me. So he's just working, all of a sudden he hears these words out of the blue. I think that's also interesting. Okay, and then we got one more dream for today. It says this. This is the dream from Tammy Golden. And thank you, Tammy, from our community. It reminded me of your bull pony dream. Was it a $100 bill he gave you? Yeah, and I got to eat lunch with Tammy and Tom Golden. Great people. Great people. We got to have breakfast, actually. This dream is from Tammy Golden. Remind me of Bull Pony's dream, the $100 bill he gave you. All right, it says this. I'm in this church or revival meeting. People are really catering to me. It seems to be a country small town church. I go to sit down while others are grabbing their plates to eat in the afternoon. The lady with me are clutching their hands, patiently yet nervously. One of them leans in and says, the ladies group has been waiting for you to show up at their meeting. I immediately get up from the table and they lead me across the hall to another room. The ladies are sitting around praying when I enter in. I just start right in praying in tongues and lifting my hands in the back of the room. I open my eyes and they have all gathered around me speaking in tongues, and the room went from somber to alive. The countenances lifted. Then they want to all hold their hands in a circle and pray. Now switch. I'm sitting at long banquet tables. There's people lined up on both sides. Across from me is President Trump. While I can't see them, I know that behind him in the shadows are the Secret Service. He is well protected and looked after. This little boy slides over to him in awe. Donald Trump reaches in his pockets and takes out a wallet and hands him what looks to be $1. Then he turns to his chair and faces me. He fans his wallet for a higher bill, takes one and leans forward and says, I bet you never seen one of these. He hands it to me and I thank him as I look at it. It's a $100 bill that is a gold back with Trump's face on it. It's intricate and threaded with gold, and just beautiful. The colors red and gold stood out, which that's amazing dream. Which gold, the color of red is also the color of gold. A lot of people don't know that, but if you melt down gold and you put it in glass, you'll see the glass becomes beautiful red color. That's very beautiful. And now I think the moment he said in the dream, I bet you never seen one of these, I would say that he's definitely referring to a gold-backed bill. And then sure enough, it confirms the next sentence, it was gold-backed, which believes that's encompassing of some of the prophetic, some of the intel that states that we're going to have a new system, new economy, new money, and there will be new money because the current Federal Reserve System that's based on our old system will fall or fail at some time in the future. I absolutely believe it. In fact, I believe that's why XRP exists. XRP's network is going to hold up the framework for many of those systems that are going to be coming in. That's going to be like the banker's coin. And so there's going to be dollars that are going to be used in the future, but primarily those will be backed by gold. And I think they're going to have a gold standard. And you can tell because the bill was gold backed. I think that means it's made by gold. Currently, your dollar bills are not backed by anything except for the good faith and trust in the American people. They can print, and there's no accountability. Each time they print, it makes everybody's bills worthless. But when there's bills backed by gold, then the system is in balance. And God says he despises false weights and false balances in the Bible. So God is not for this current system that we're currently under, the Federal Reserve System. Our forefathers said, if you ever come back, do not go if we ever go back to a central banking system, we're going to lose our nation. You're gonna find your citizens homeless on the grounds that their fathers fought for. And now we see mass homelessness, and especially in certain parts of the cities like San Francisco, the people that are homeless are not because they're drug addicts or drug dealers or anything like that. It's just because they're being robbed with taxes and inflation and cannot even afford the homes they're living in. And it's terrible. And it's a bad thing. So we need to go back on gold standard. And maybe that's another dream about that. Thank you for those 3 dreams that we had. Yeah, share it.
My daughter had a dream last night, and this is what she said. She said, I had a dream where all my family was waiting for me in a car. 2 separate cars were being taken because her aunt was in town, and they were waiting for her. But she kept going back inside to get snacks and water. But she said she had a hard time finding some water bottles that could stay filled up. And she said they had holes in them, and they were leaking. And then she says at the end of the dream, her family had left, but that her mom, me, stayed behind. And somehow we got this rental car. I don't know how, but there was a rental car in the garage. And then she was able to find some water bottles that didn't have holes in it. And we were able to leave.
Wow. And that's the dream you said your daughter had or you had?
My daughter.
Wow. So the water bottles she had at first had holes in them. And because of that, she wasn't ready for the journey when you guys were leaving. But the second time around, then she was ready for the journey. She had a vessel that could not hold what was needed for the journey. Can I ask you a question? Is she into the crypto space at all or anything like that?
She is.
She is. I want you to tell her to check her exchange that she's trading on, or her security. There might be a security issue because she may not, it could be a security issue that she may not have an adequate either exchange or position to hold what God wants to give her or what's needed for the journey, for the wealth transfer, if it's physical related. That's something that's a very strong possibility. It could be that she's not in a position to receive what is about to be poured out. And that could have to do with either a physical action she has to take, like maybe she's not able to access her crypto. Maybe she doesn't remember her passwords. Maybe something may be compromised, or something's not secure, something's not safe to hold what is about to be given or what is needed. It could be related to, for the journey. It also sounds like it's something that's in the preparatory phase because it's before the journey begins. So it may relate to something about her seed money. It could be that she's using an exchange that may not be safe, or it might be compromised or something, or a password that might be not right, or after the journey begins, she's not holding the right vessel entirely. She's not holding the right cryptos that she needs to hold, or she's not in a strong position to benefit on the journey. But after a time, then consulting, you have the right vessel, and then she's in position. So, and she's ready for the journey.
Interesting, because I'm helping her.
Is she listening to you?
That's my feeling. She's relying more on me, and I really feel she needs to step up.
Yeah, it could be
for her stuff.
Yeah, it could be that she's relying on your vessels, but she's relying like on your vessels, but as far as herself, she's not ready. So she would probably need to double check what is she using, or at the very least, in general, her preparation. Is she ready for really what's about to happen? And it also could be more than physical. It also could be spiritual, because the water also represents living water, like Christ. Is she of the character that's ready for the journey? There's a strong spiritual character that we have to have before wealth transfer. We can't just enter wealth transfer because our parents are ready. We also have to be at that point where we're ready ourselves spiritually to handle the great wealth that's about to come. This is for everybody. If we empower our children to have millions of dollars of access to millions and millions of dollars, are they really ready for that wealth? Okay, that's something that we all have to consider, because there's so many reports of lottery winners who give their children $1 million bank accounts, and the children end up it really destroys the children's lives. And there's lots of reasons for it. So you guys are in church, you guys are learning, you guys are here, you guys are in ministry, you're training all the time for wealth transfer in your mind, spiritually, and all the above. But not so maybe with our children. So there's a certain learning curve they have to. And it could be that she needs to experience the first move of holes in her vessel. That's not saying she won't receive, but she may not be able to also, she may be able to receive it, but she may not be able to hold on to it, what is given to her. Okay, so if she goes up with you, but then it loses, it's because she's missing something that she's not ready. Again, she's going to have to consult you to figure out what that is. And that'll be important.
This is my oldest child, and she's 28. So
it's not the one I met, right?
No. Yes, you met her.
That the one I met? Okay. Yeah, there's going to be something that it's probably a time of testing, and that's just going to have to be the case. But it's saying she will be ready at another time. So maybe mama, don't be disappointed or upset with her if she did anything wrong. Everybody has their own learning curve for the journey, okay? But those are some possibilities of what I glean from this. Okay?
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
Sharon, was it My Daily Bread or something like that? She had a dream where she saw a rocket take off in a blue room, and it hit the wall and it exploded with water. And so the water can represent liquidity. And so
wow.
I think she didn't really have an interpretation, but it sounded like the crypto market was going to be exploded with liquidity. In other words, cash is going to be coming into the market at some point. Something's going to trigger it, and cash is going to flood into the crypto market. And this is the opposite. Having holes in your bottle, you're losing that liquidity.
Yep. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of, I absolutely expect that to be the case for a lot of reasons, especially when the markets, the stock markets and faith in the dollar leaves. I think there's going to be some last minute times where you're going to see a lot of the bank money flow into the crypto sphere, and that in the future. Nardu, I see your hand raised. What did you have some dream for us as well?
JSong, no, I just want to say something about it and the rental car. So there's just some word of knowledge in my heart.
Okay.
A rental car represent it's not your own.
The rental
Somebody
car.
needs to take Yes. Somebody needs to take ownership for that vehicle, and you can go along. But I believe we are raised up as a remnant to steward the wealth through our relationship with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
The only thing I'm saying, it's interesting, the second time the rental car was there to pick them up.
Yeah.
So what I've sensed is maybe she's leaning, like she said, more on mom's understanding And maybe the Lord wants to give her own revelation for what's on her life and her anointing, and what he wants to provide through crypto to establish her, to build to according to the pattern in heaven.
Hallelujah. Yes.
The XEC or whatever it's called, currently at 10% from when I called it an hour ago, and I entered slightly before that, and it's up 14% in the space of 3 hours. So yeah, the reason why I highlighted it in that moment is just I felt like there was an immediate rise coming from that, of which we have seen, may continue to see. I have no idea. Probably wouldn't expect it to go too much higher, but in this exact moment, but we're not one to sleep on. Yeah, I would like, I don't know what to say. I just hope people don't miss these things, because there's a lot of immediate things happening currently. Like last night, there was a crypto and God spoke to me about it. An hour later, it had done, I think, about 50%, or maybe it was even 64%, something like that. Some things happening, and I hope we're able to take action.
Yeah, I think your crypto is going to do a lot more than 10% in the next hour. And I don't mean hour, I mean over time. I believe that the Lord is still speaking with you, and it's going to help open up your gift to bring illumination to a lot of things that you're trading. If you guys don't know, Ian does a lot of quick trading as well, a lot of short-term trading, and he does pretty well. Primarily, he hears a lot of things from the Lord showing him where to look, okay? And that's a good thing, so praise God for that, and may he continue. But I can see that you're going to move a lot more than 10% in just a little bit. I think you're going to move much higher when it comes to some of these cryptos.
I just want to, it's just amazing when you get these things that happen in real time. He just showed me that like during class, and I spoke about it, and it's already up 10% in the space of an hour's pretty nice. And you just, these little things, if you catch them, they can be really powerful in the moment.
That was probably Triple J and Sharon caused that whip. Just teasing.
Well, maybe Janet bought in, and that's the increase.
Look at that candle right there. Interesting. Where are we going on this crypto? It's possible we're going to go to new heights if we build above this last target. That's XEC revisited. Strong position. If you buy now, be careful. You can still come down, but you're probably going to be able to get at some of these prices, but it's already set up. You already stopped exactly on your line or very close to your line. In this case, that the number was 0.00051. Next week, it's 5.2. But you already stopped and did what you needed to do. You got your strong pushing volume. It would be nice to have no demand, but there is an exception to the rule. Ultra high volume followed by an up bar means buying. Okay, if the candle stops just like this, it means the buying already happened. Don't be surprised if you just shoot up from here. That is one of the exceptions to no demand. Okay, I'll just highlight this for you guys to know. Push these two paired together on candles like this in the context of health, meaning health has to be in here. And if you see them back to back on ultra high volume, that means that you have health that has appeared. Let me see if I can get this one. Ultra high for both of these, especially they come down like this.
I can eat them over there.
Some people know them as railroad tracks, but I like to see the volume on the buying one or the up bar on higher volume. That's how I like to see them. When I first learned volume, Paul, I muted you. When I first started seeing these, that's exactly what this is the only thing I knew at the time. Is back-to-back areas. But now I see these on top of a support, I know to read them in context. The support is that. So what is happening here? That's buying. This equals buying. You don't need no demand in those cases. Okay. There's the average volume right here. All right, I'll leave that. That's a very good thing. XEC, may move up this very shortly. Very shortly. All right, let's go over the Bible. Let's read the Word of God for today, and then we're going to come back to our recap at the end. But thank you, everybody, for sharing your dreams. Thank you, everybody who joins for different parts of our program today. I began with dreams, speaking about some of the dreams that I had. I believe that's relevant to our community. I'm so grateful that you guys are sharing your dreams in VIP. And if I may have missed your dream in the VIP, let one of our team members know. Say, hey, can you get this to JSong? Or just shoot it to my email myself, j.song7784@icloud.com. Okay? Here's 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Praise God. Now I heard you, I commended you because you remember me in everything and maintain the traditions even as I delivered them to you. But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God. Every man who prays, so let's talk about that. The Lord will use a woman, my friends, but he's always looking for a man to lead his home. Okay? I understand that there's a lot of people who are being just deceived by the whole feminism message. There's a godly order in your household when a man will step up and lead. A wife can lead, absolutely. She's not designed to. A wife can wear the pants in the family. She's not designed to. There's a time and a place where the man needs to rise up and do his duty and his responsibility and take leadership. For you wives, I want you to know, are your husbands perfect? No. Are they going to make mistakes? Yes. And here's something you may not have never heard. You need to allow them to make mistakes. Sometimes you need to let them make mistakes because they have to find their footing, especially when it comes to leadership. I don't want to hear any wives saying, I try to let my husband in charge, but he always messes up everything. So that's why, let me do it. If you're saying, let me do it, you're doing a disservice to your husband. How is he ever going to learn if you're always doing it for him? How are you guys ever going to learn unless I let you have a chance to learn and draw maps on your own? How will my son learn to tie his shoes if I'm always tying his shoe for him? I have to allow him. Every godly father and leader has to allow. Okay? You have free will. God gives us free will. But we have to allow our husbands and spouses and wives even to make those mistakes. Okay? One of the problems I had in my first marriage, okay, and you guys know what happened. My ex-wife had an affair with a church member and ran away. Years ago, it was I think it was over 11 years ago now, 10 years ago, something like that. A long time ago. And during those days, I pondered a lot about my own life. I pondered how I managed my marriage for 9 years. And I had a lot of chance to repent and look over a lot of areas. And one of the areas I realized that was wrong is I did not let her make enough mistakes in the beginning. I didn't allow her that freedom. I was always wanting to practice my skills in whatever area it was at that time, maybe, that I didn't allow her to be without correction. You're not doing it right. Do it like this. This is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. If I only do that, then she can harbor resentment or hidden anger towards me. The Bible tells us, husbands, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. Fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. There's a certain wrath that we can actually start establishing in our home by poking the bear. And we got to be wary when we're poking the bear, when we're offending our family members, when we're offending our spouses even. Oh, just let me. You could be hurting his pride, you may say. Oh, you shouldn't have pride. There's a level of respect that you need to learn, oh wife. Okay? And there's a level of love that a husband needs to learn. And when you allow your family members to operate and make mistakes without you being so critical, you are giving love to them. You are giving respect. If your husband doesn't measure up as he's leading to the home, and you're like, whoa, he has my disdain and anger, you are disrespecting, you are not loving him the way God wants you to love him, which is to respect your husbands. And this is a very powerful thing. There's a love that you can by allowing that man to step into the role. He needs to know that he can step in the role without you worrying, oh, I'm leaving, I'm going to move with my mother and everything. There's people that have marriages that are like this. And the husband is like walking on eggshells. So what is the wife really doing? She's really manipulating her husband in this sense, where the wife would say, you can lead, but you better be the way that I want you to lead. So then is he really leading? You can lead, but it better be exactly how I want it to be done. Then who's really in charge? Who's really leading? Okay. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It says this in the scripture. The head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is her husband. Okay. The head of not every woman, the head of the wife is her husband. Okay. So you need to allow that man to be able to consult his leader, because he's also leading. And if he's going to lead, he has to be in alignment with Christ. My husband's not following Christ, then pray for him. But allow him that freedom to start leading your home. You want to slow, I'm doing all the work. Why do I have to do it? And you notice you're complaining because you're not designed to carry the brunt of the burden. Even men physically are stronger. We may not be as emotionally strong as you, but we're physically strong. We can take a lot, but we can't take a lot of disrespect. Men cannot do that. Okay, we don't even do that to each other. We don't even, when is the last time you see a man who, you this, you that, blah, 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 blah. We don't vent. Even a man who will fight an enemy never fights without dishonor. We don't fight in a dishonorable way. There are certain things men never do. It's inherent. You never see when a man fights, we claw each other's face. Unless it's life and death, right? We're getting murdered in the night or something. We don't fight with our nails. That leaves scars for women. Women would just break off their nails and they'll attack. They don't care. There's a disrespect there's a respect they have to learn. Men never do these things. Okay? They'll pull your hairs. Most men will never pull in a man's hair. We'll punch you in the face, we'll knock you out, but we won't pull your hair. Generally, we don't do things like that. There's certain things, just boundaries. A man will never kick a man in the nuts. You see it in the movies, it's really rare. I wonder who choreographs them. But most men never kick each other in the nuts. We don't even think about it. It doesn't even come into our minds. Why? Because there's just boundaries we just don't want to cross with each other. And one day we'll teach more about love and respect, especially the work from Dr. Emerson. He did great work on the crazy cycle, the connection between love and respect. He wrote a great book called Love and Respect. I challenge you guys to read it. I've read it several times. I took several classes regarding it over many years, and it's just a fantastic work. But today we're talking about giving the husband the ability to follow the leading of Christ and follow him in an honorable way. Okay? Unconditional respect, even if he makes mistakes. He's the head. And you need to allow him to follow his God in the way that the Lord is leading him. Because as a wife, you may not understand the leading of your home may not be in the direction that you may always have been, or that he's always have led, or the life that you've always led. Let me give you an example. There's some wives that cannot follow their husband if the Lord says, hey, I need you to go up and move your family to another country. That wife will go, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. They won't even allow themselves to pray about the matter because it could never happen. But it may be the case. And did you not know that God was ministering to Joseph in his dreams? Not Joseph from the well, Pharaoh's Joseph, but Jesus, Father Joseph, or earthly father. Joseph was being led in the dreams. Hey, we need to go to Egypt. Hey, the boy's life is in danger. Hey, the leading of your family needs to go here. Now it's safe to go back. And take the wife, don't be afraid to take her as your wife. Step by step, God was ministering to that man. And he was allowed to lead. And he was allowed to lead his family on great journeys back and forth without pushback. And because of that, he had felt for more freedom to rely on Christ to make sure he's making the right decisions for his family. Every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head. But every wife who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head, since it is the same as if her head were shaven. For if a wife will not cover her head, then she should cut her hair short. But since it is disgraceful for a wife to cut off her hair or shave her head, let her cover her head. For a man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God. But a woman is the glory of a man. Ain't it the truth? The woman is the more beautiful of the species. For a man was not made from woman, but a woman was made from man. Neither was man created for woman, remember that, men, but a woman for man. That is why the wife ought to have a symbol of authority on her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, in the Lord, woman is not interdependent of a man, nor a man interdependent of a woman. For as a woman was made from man, so as man is born of woman. All these things are from God. Judge for yourselves. Is it proper for a wife to pray to God with her head uncovered? Does not nature itself teach you that if a man wears long hair, it is a disgrace for him? But if a woman has long hair, it is her glory. For her hair is given for her as a covering. If anyone is inclined to be contentious, we have no such practice, nor do the churches of God. And I saw in a vision, there was not a vision, and many testimonies from my own church members that when they were in heaven, they saw a lot of the women have long, what they call a veil, which is really long hair. And they said, why do all the women have long hair in heaven? And not that you can't have it anything but long hair, but they saw a lot of women have long hair. And they said, the angel said, it's their glory, it's their covering. God gave them natural hair long. And there's certain things that is beyond this, which I don't talk about too much, but a woman has waves in her hair at various lengths. Sometimes she has it straight, sometimes she has it curly, sometimes she has it locky, sometimes little tiny curls. Each wave is representative of different frequencies in wave. There's a lot of connections between hair and a frequency, like a transmitter, like a radio transmitter, something like a receiving and an antenna. A lot of people don't understand these things, and I don't talk about them too much, but I will just briefly mention. There are some people that already know this type of information, and usually those people are the witches and warlocks. A lot of these witches in certain places like that, they'll actually have long hair for a reason, because they know that expands their reach. Now they're doing in interacting with the spiritual realm unauthorized. You are God's children. You are authorized to interact with that spiritual realm in a strong way. But God gives you certain hair that helps you be sensitive to the spiritual things. A lot of people don't know this, but it's to help you be sensitive to the spiritual things. Let me give you an example. When I was praying in a room and we felt the darkness change, it was darkness. We felt like evil spirits come into the room. Everyone, without me saying anything, felt the hair on their head, arms stand up. There's like a small, clear hair on most people's bodies. Those hairs, not just the goosebumps, but on each bump, there's a little tiny micro hair. Those hairs interact with the spiritual realm. A lot of people don't know that. There was a story of these Indian men. These Indian men had long hair, and these Indian men would go out hunting, and they would hunt. And one of the things they would do is they would be able to track animals for miles away. They would just be able to find animals really well. They were so good at tracking that the United States government hired them to be a part of the military. They recruited a lot of these Indian men. It was really important. This happened way back in the day. And they enrolled in the military. And as soon as they got to the military, they were told to go track these enemies. And they couldn't do it. For some reason, it just wasn't working. They were like, we got lost. We couldn't. They were like, what? Why are you guys doing this? So they said, well, you guys are all fired. Let's hire some more Indian men. And we need by Indian Native Americans, okay, like from Arizona and different parts of America where the tribes live. And they brought in these more Native Americans, and they could not track anymore. And they said, why is it not working? You guys have been tracking your whole life. The thing they did that was different is they cut their hair. They shaved them all short. And they noticed that their power was gone. Is there a connection between the hair and the spiritual realm? Yes. The Bible says that Samson was not supposed to cut his hair, but rather put it in locks. And his power was linked to his hair. There are certain things that maybe people don't understand. Again, I don't preach on too much, but just to let you know, there's a strong connection between the hair. There's even a connection between the beards and that David had. That when the men were put to shame, he said, don't worry about coming back until your beards are grown, then you can come. It's a natural thing given by God. There's things that God naturally gives us that God wants us to take care of. It's not saying it's a sin if you don't, but there's a blessing that we can take care of. I think that's all we're going to cover for today. We'll cover verses 7 next time. And we're here for questions if you guys have other questions later on. All right, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody who read the Word of God with us today. I love you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, Word Room, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Monday, 9 a.m. for Chart Room, Wednesday again at 6 a.m. We'll see you guys later.